loved ones. I am Marlene of Love Marlene 411. And on this channel, we talk about all of the love things, the love we have for ourselves, the love we have for our significant other, our friends, our relatives, every relationship, we focus on how we can love in a better way. Okay, let's get into today's podcast conversation. While I wait for my co host, Miss Nexie, I have to say, welcome to the Sip and Chat. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and become a loved one and tap into all of the love things. Okay, so today on the Sip and Chat, we're going to be talking about of a situation where everybody knows what's going on in your house or with somebody that you know, whether it be a friend, a family member, or whoever. Everybody knows what's going on with that person, but them or but you. So, a quick story time that I want to share. It was somebody that I know of, and lots of things was happening into their house. Lots of things. And because I don't know if you guys know, but in the Caribbean, things are a little bit different. Um, Jobs are not as plentiful as they are in other countries. So a lot of mothers or fathers have to go abroad in order to do some things to provide for their family. So, in one scenario that I know of, somebody had to leave their children behind, leave everything behind in order to go and get employment. But in the meantime, while they were gone, everybody in the community knew that when that person went away, everybody knew in the community that they had their little side piece person. Everybody knew but the person who used to always go away. And for me, I'm not going to rationalize a wrong is a wrong, but do you think that it's fair to a relationship to have one person always waiting on the sidelines while another person goes and gets themselves together? For me, I don't feel like it's fair to be in a relationship with somebody that travels for a living or 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 does stuff that they're very immature and you're not in the space to really handle it. So that's what was happening to this poor young man. He was a good person, a good husband. He went abroad in order to provide for his children and to provide for, you know, his family. All the time, he thinks back home, everything is good. Everybody in the community, even people among his own relatives, all knew what was going on in his family but him. He didn't know that he had a wife that everybody knows, but sometimes, unfortunately, because the person is off, either they're being a truck driver or they travel for business or they're in the military, lots of reasons why a person cannot be home or it could be like in a lot of communities that I know of because I come from a Caribbean background. Sometimes they can't be with you because they get into a relationship. Why? Why get in a relationship? Especially, I always ask myself, why get into a marriage with somebody? And you know, you don't want to be committed to that one person. That's something that has absolutely, somebody who they know that they're not a person who can handle a long distance relationship. They know that they're a person who has wandering eyes. They know that they're a person that they have all of these issues, but yet they and they're definitely not financially ready to be in a committed relationship. But yet here they go, committing to someone maybe because it's they feel they've been in the relationship. It keeps freezing. Really? It's freezing? Hold on. Okay, I just went out and came back. I hope that that's better. I always have said, if you are in a relationship with somebody and they don't know how to be loyal, is it better, Miss Jackie? Let me know. If you cannot be in a relationship with somebody and you know that they're not a loyal person, I've always asked myself this question. It is better? Okay. Thank you so much. I've always asked myself the question, why do people get in relationships, marry people who are not marriage material, or why do they stay with somebody who disrespects them, treats them like trash, and everybody can see it? Everybody can see the disrespect. Everybody can see that that person is not a provider. Everybody can see that they're not marriage material. Everybody knows but you or but them or the person that you know. And I don't understand. For me, it's just like being like, it's plain as the nose on your face. It's like, I don't understand. How can people not get it? Is it because people don't want to get it? Because they don't want to see it? They've pretended, they've lied to themselves for such a long period of time that they're just not getting it. They just don't see it, or is it that they don't want to see it? I don't know, but I always ask myself these questions when it comes to people that I know and love. It could be your relative, it could be your friend, it could be anybody, it could even be us. You know, sometimes we get into romantic relationships, we get in relationships with people, and everybody can see the problem. Either the person has lots of red flags, they're very controlling, they're very manipulative, or everybody knows that you are the one taking care of that person financially. Everybody knows that they're not a good person, they're not good and healthy, or they're a very immature person. Everybody can see certain things, everybody can see the red flags, but you or but that person. So my question always is, how do you confront your friends, your relatives, to butt into their relationship? But how do you tell somebody with love um, that that they deserve better than what they're taking? They deserve better than what they're receiving. They deserve better than what they're putting up with. I know for myself, you know, being completely transparent, when I was in a very toxic relationship, it didn't matter that other people would tell me they didn't like the person, or they didn't like the way I was being treated, or they didn't feel I was being respected, because at the end of the day, I didn't respect myself yet. I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was. See, for me, it was more about making other people happy than making myself happy. And that's very toxic. I don't know how many of us we go through relationships like that. And it's not just romantic. It could be your relative, it could be, your parents, it could be your children, it could be your significant other, it could be your quote unquote friends. But any relationships that we have in our life, and everybody can see the toxicity. Everybody can see who this person truly is. Why stay around? Why allow toxicity? Why allow negativity? And I will tell you why 100%. Why I stayed around in a DV situation, because I didn't think I deserved better. Because they beat down your self-esteem, or they beat you down literally. You have zero self-esteem. You can't see certain things because they've done a very good job at isolating you from your family, isolating you from your friends, isolating you from society. They've done so many things that sometimes you're completely dependent on them for everything. And because your self-esteem is in the toilet, because they make sure you don't have friends, or they do things so that your relatives get so upset with you, so you don't have any backup, you don't have anybody to lean on. And that's just the position that they want you to be in. They want you to be at that vulnerable stage where all you have in your life is them. You have zero self-esteem. They've made sure of it. They've beat it out of you. Literally, they beat out your self-esteem. They beat out all your hopes and all your dreams. And to anybody who is ever in that position, you know, I can tell you from experience, not from what I've read, but I can tell you from experience what it's like to taste the blood in your mouth. Okay. Oh, I have to say trigger warning. I know what it's like to taste blood in your mouth because they've hit you so hard that you've probably cracked a tooth, or your lip is bleeding. Maybe your jaw is out of alignment. Maybe they bruised your body. And after it happens over and over and over again, and the broken promises that they're going to change. And after a while, you start to believe that it's you. I've done something to deserve this. So it's more than what people think. I know a lot of people always say, if you wanted to leave, you could leave, right? It's easy to say that when you're on the outside. Have you ever got somebody to punch your face in? Have you ever had somebody dislocate your jaw, bruised up your body? No, take all your money, cause you to be homeless. Until you've been in a situation, you cannot tell somebody how it's like. Until you can walk in those shoes, you can't know how it feels. And from now that I'm in a space of health, I'm thinking rationally these days, and I've worked on myself. Now I'm on the other side of the pain and the hurt and the sadness that we receive sometimes when we are in toxic relationships. And I will speak on both sides. I will speak on a very toxic relationship, and I will speak on a healthy relationship. When we're in a healthy relationship, they're going to encourage you to spend time doing the things that you love. They're going to encourage you to do things that will make you feel good about yourself. But when you're in a toxic one, when you're in a negative, a controlling, a jealous, a very unhealthy romantic relationship, they always make it always seem about them. And all they want is they want all your time. They want to control you. They want to control your thoughts, your money, your friendships, who you're talking to. You can't do anything without basically asking permission. And I want to say to anyone who is watching this live, if you feel unsafe in your romantic relationship, if you feel unsafe with your siblings or your relatives, if it's if it's where you just feel very miserable, very controlled, please seek help. Please seek help. And even if you get on the other side, when you get on the other side of that pain and you leave that situation, maybe now you're living on your own in your own space, we still need to deal with the after effects of what it does to us. See, when we're in toxic relationships, whether it's friend, family, relative, romantic, job related, in business, whatever the relationship is, after that is over, you have to get on the healing side. Why did I choose this relationship? Why did I choose to be in business? Why did I choose them as a friend? See, sometimes people just don't understand about why people make certain decisions and why do you choose to be in a romantic relationship with somebody, a man or a woman, that and we could do so much better. Why do we choose friendships with people who use us, or why stay with people who don't support us and care about us? See, a lot of times everybody will know that we deserve better. I've heard people say that, about people that I know and even myself. You're so much smarter. You deserve so much better. You could do so much better than him, or you could do so much better than her. Or why do they do that? Or why do you feel that way? See, until you're in certain situations, you really can't understand because it all goes to how that person was raised, what they have been through, what they're currently going through, and what the relationship they have with themselves. Most of the time, people stay in toxic relationships because they don't feel that they can get better. They don't feel that they're anybody. And it could be a person who's very beautiful or very handsome and they have everything going on. They're a phenomenal person, but they choose to stay in a toxic relationship, maybe because that's all they've seen since they've been young. We take our childhood into our adulthood, even when we think we're over it. Because I know I told myself that, oh, yeah, what happened to me when I was a child? I'm over that. Just because that part of your life ends, that situation ends, that trauma ends, it does not mean that it's resolved. We have to go back and ask ourselves, why did that happen to me? What role did I play in it? And what can I do so that I don't repeat the cycle? Because what I want to do is I want to break the cycles of lack of communication, because that's something in many communities we don't talk about things. We hide it. Thank you so much, Jackie, for dropping all the links. We hide things. I grew up in that generation of we're seen and we're not heard from my childhood. And you bring that into your teen years, your 20s and up, when you start getting into relationships and then you find, like, oh, that relationship didn't work out. That relationship didn't work out. Yes, sometimes it can be other people, but also we have to ask ourselves, what do we allow? Why did I take that? Why did I put myself in that situation? And why did I stay in that relationship for such a long period of time? The moment that you realize that it's toxic, the moment that you realize that it's not supportive and loving and it doesn't nourish you and there's no compassion and you're not experiencing any personal growth, then it's up to us as women. It's up to you as a man to say, I deserve better than that. I want for us to learn that it's okay to walk away from toxicity. I don't care who it is. It can be your relatives. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean you have to be run over, over and over again, taken advantage of, disrespected. See, everybody can see the disrespect. Thank you so much, Jackie. Everybody can see when we're disrespected. Everybody sees it, but us. We think that, oh, this is as good as it gets, and I'm so tired of the people who feel that a piece of a man or a piece of a woman is is good enough. At least you have a man, at least you have a woman. No, a piece, crumbs, remnants, but get having somebody who is very immature, very disrespectful, not supportive of you, not loving. See, we can't make people turn into what we want, but we can have enough courage to walk away from spaces and situations where we're not healing. Walk away from situations we're not growing because we deserve to have better, to be better. See, I want to spread that awareness, spread that awareness to all of you loved ones, that we don't have ancestors. We don't have to not communicate, because I did that for a very long time. It was very uncomfortable. Like, I wasn't used to talking about how I felt. I grew up like, when you feel a certain way, you just keep it to yourself. When situations happen, you keep your business. And to a certain extent, I do get that. Of course, you don't walk around telling everybody your business, but there are spaces that you need to go to, safe spaces, safe people, healthy people that you should feel comfortable and talk about what you're going through. Talk about what you're dealing with. Talk about it. More of us need to learn to talk about how we feel. And many times we don't talk about how we feel because it's not a space for growth. It's a space of immaturity. It challenges everything, right? We're challenged that we feel a certain way. We feel guilty, like, oh, this is what I have to do because this is my cousin, or this is my sibling, or this is your child, this is your husband, this is your wife. Just because of the relationship that you're in, it does not mean that it's good for us. It doesn't mean it's good for us. Okay. I wanted to say that. Yes, Jackie, it is facts. Because for me, for a long time, I mean, this is over 10 years of my life, I was very miserable, but yet I would still do things for people, even though I know they didn't support me. Even I know that they were very immature. I know that they would never support me the way I supported them. Everybody knows. And I think my revelation began with me when I finally heard somebody say, "You'll never say no." And I was like, "What?" So I don't have to ask you because you always say yes. Are we one of those persons that are the yes woman or the yes man? And that's not a good thing to be identified as, that because that means you're a doormat to be run over, to take advantage of. They'll never check on you because you're quote unquote the strong one. You usually hold everybody up, you encourage everybody. But who is encouraging the strong one? Yes, as strong ones, we have to learn to ask for the things that we want. If you want something in this life, you have to ask for it. And if you're not getting it, it's time for you to close the door, to walk away, to block all of those things. You don't have to stay in spaces to where you feel like you have to grow people up. You have to mature people. You have to turn people into what you want and what you need. If you're not getting what you want and you need to leave and go and find it elsewhere. Yes, Miss Jackie, guilt will have us second guessing ourselves. Isn't that true? I know I used to second guess myself all the time. Like, maybe it's me why I'm not getting to my level of success. Maybe it's me why my business isn't working. Maybe it's me because of whatever. X, Y, and Z. Will come up with a million excuses. But the truth, and the truth is, we're sabotaging our own success. Or we have relationships with people who will always do something to sabotage it. They'll always do something so that you can never elevate, so that you always focus all your time, your effort, your energy, your money on them, and you never have any time for yourself because they're selfish. Everybody can see, everybody knows that that's not a good relationship. Everybody knows but you. Will we have the courage to face it, to look at ourselves in the mirror and to say, I need to work on me? I need to take some time for me, some room for me, some space for me, for my self care, for my mental health, for my financial growth and prosperity, for me using my talents and my gifts. Will I make time and room for me? I have to say, it took me a very long time to get to that space as a woman, to not feel guilty to prioritize my mental health, to feel guilty to say no. When it's no, and you don't have to explain why it is, and it does not care who it is. It could be from your spouse to your child. When you need time for your mental health, then you need it. And that's it. And if they don't get it, that's their problem. But we will allow ourselves to stay stuck. We'll allow ourselves to be around these negative people. We'll allow people to use us. We'll allow ourselves. Sometimes I know I get to that space where I'm at a zero or I'm at a negative. I'm way below what is healthy for me. I'm too tired. I'm stressed out. I need a vacation. And you don't have anybody asking, how are you doing? Are you okay? Can I do something for you? Everybody sees it, everybody knows. But will you choose yourself? I think that's the point of today's discussion and topic. We have to choose ourselves. Ladies, choose yourself. Gentlemen, choose yourself. And I understand that about adulting, and I know there's bills to pay. I know there's homes to run, children to take care of. You know, all of us are busy and we have things going on. But if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to be able to show up for the people that are important to you? And if those people are really important to you, they will be understanding. I had to learn that. They will be understanding when they see that you're serious. When they see, oh, they're going to the gym or going for a walk or they're taking care of, their physical appearance, maybe when you didn't before. Don't let other people stop you from taking care of yourself, from your physical. Don't let people stop you from taking care of your financial. Don't let people stop you from walking in your plan and your purpose for your life. I have to tell you all this as a testimony. For many years, I stopped myself. I sabotaged my own success, my own well being, my own talents because of other people. I was always putting myself on the back burner for a romantic relationship. I was always putting myself on the back burner for my relatives, always putting myself on the back burner for work and for everything else but me. So if everybody goes ahead of you, what time is it ever going to be about you? When are you ever going to be happy? When will you ever experience peace? So that's something that we each have to answer that question ourselves. Only we can make a choice as to when we're going to be happy. We have to make a choice when we will experience peace. We have to make a choice when we're going to use our talents and our gifts. We have to make a choice when we're going to forgive ourselves and forgive other people. And for me, until I learned to forgive myself, not just other people, but me, until you learn to forgive yourself for when you were maybe immature or you didn't make the best decisions, you didn't choose the best relationships, you have to forgive yourself for that. You have to forgive yourself for when you didn't know better. But now that you know better, now let's do better. Let's do better, loved ones. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Happy Thursday. Yeah, when you know better, you do better. At least we should. But it takes time, and every single person is different. You find out who's in your corner when you're no longer beneficial to others. Who will ride with us until the wheels fall off? Yes, Jackie. No is a complete sentence. People don't realize sometimes the weight we need to lose is not on our bodies. Yes. For me, the weight that I need to take off is the weight of feeling that I have to make everybody else happy. I had to learn that I had to make myself happy. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I wanted to say this to every single one of you. I hope that you're in a space in your life where you feel supported, and you feel loved, you feel understood, because not all the time we we get the support that we need. And I feel that this message is very important for somebody, man, woman, or child. Not all of us feel supported all the time, loved, understood, and sometimes we're just not in the space mentally to where we're doing well, because we have the weight on our shoulders from whatever it is, from our romantic relationship, from your children, from your your relatives, from your job, financially, health problems. So much things come at us. And I wanted to say this to all of you. If you're not in a space to where you feel supported and loved, but everybody can see we're not in a good space, but you got a whole circle of users around you, a whole circle of entitled people. And they feel entitled to know your business. They feel entitled to control you, control your money, do whatever it is that to tell you whatever lie or story just to keep you hooked. Hmm. See, I don't know if there's a lot of people who are like me that were people pleasers, you know? We think by doing things, by bending over backwards, losing sleep, doing this, buying things that we can't afford, paying people's bills, taking care of people's kids, being the best wife or being the best husband, being the best at everything. And we're making other people so happy, but I don't know how many people can identify like I can and say, everybody around us can be so happy. And then you ask yourself, then why am I not happy? Why? Why aren't you happy? Only we can answer that question. See, everybody else can around us can know. They can say for a long time you haven't looked happy, but they're not doing anything to help you for your mental health. They're not doing anything to support you, because they're usually the ones that are taking away and pulling and taking and using, controlling and manipulating. We have to be the ones to cut off the toxic people. We have to be the ones to say, enough is enough. I don't got to take this anymore. And you don't. You don't have to take the using. You don't have to take the controlling. You don't have to take the manipulation. You don't have to be in a relationship with anybody romantically. You can be by yourself. I hear people say, I can do bad all by myself. How about doing good by yourself? Sometimes we have to be in the season of being single, of being cutting ourselves off from relatives or any levels of toxicity. If they are toxic, if they are users, if they are entitled, if they're controlling, if they're jealous, if they're unhealed, and they just want to be miserable, if they want to consistently complain about their life but do nothing to change it, and they're always looking to you to bail them out and to be the solution, and they're not looking to themselves, you have to cut ties with those people. You have to cut the umbilical cord to those people, or they're going to keep taking, or they're going to drag you down, or they'll start giving you some mental health issues. Trust me, by holding on to those individuals that are toxic, it's not helping us. We feel sometimes that we're helping people by doing X, Y, and Z, or by giving them financially. We feel that we're helping them. We feel we're giving. We feel we're a good person because we do X, Y, and Z. We think we're good moms or dads, brothers and sisters, cousins, friends. We feel we're good because we do X, Y, and Z for others. But what is good is knowing when mm-mm, they'll never change. Hey, realist, how are you doing? Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Yes, Jackie. Sometimes um, things have to fall apart so better things can come together. Yes. And we have to let go of the old to receive the new. Sometimes that's the only thing in this life that we can do, and everybody sees the drama. Everybody sees the lies. Everybody sees the manipulation. Everybody sees it but us. Or do we see things? This is what I wanted to say to all of you. We see things. We see the red flags. We all know the relative that we have that has alcohol, a drug, whatever problem, but we continue to support them, or we make excuses for the person, or especially if it's somebody you're in a romantic relationship. They'll change one day, they'll grow up one day, they'll one day, and years pass by and you're still in the same situation. And all my ladies and gentlemen that feel that one day they'll marry me, years pass, nothing. No engagement, no hopes of marriage, and that's what you want, and you're getting older and you're just there. You're sidelined. You're not growing. You're not happy. You're not prospering. There's no peace with you because when you're around people who are not at peace with themselves, you will never have peace because they're always going to be draining and taking years away. That they'll make sure they keep you right under their foot, or they'll a way to control you and manipulate you like a puppet on strings. They'll do whatever it takes. Tell you lies. They're not making any changes. They're not going to do anything right. They're never going to do right by you, and everybody knows that. Especially, I'm speaking this coming from being in that position. I knew for many years I stayed in a relationship that was very unhealthy, very toxic, because I had the hope. And I was living on the hope one day they'll grow up. One day they'll do right by me. One day they'll love me like I love them. Just because you love people, whether it's romantic, platonic, a friend, your relatives, it doesn't matter. If a person does not choose to respect you, if a person does not choose to be happy, if a person does not choose to do the right thing, it doesn't matter how nice you are, it doesn't matter how kind you are, it does not matter how good you are to them. Until a person chooses you, chooses to see you, chooses to love you, chooses to support you, choose to be faithful to you, choose to be mature, make good decisions, and think about you while they're making a decision, and not blame you for their immaturity, not blame you because X, Y, and Z. See, a lot, it's very comfortable, you know as a woman, it's not an easy thing to say, but a lot of times, women, we see things, we see a lot of things. That's not a good man. He's very immature. He's very controlling. But you choose to let your eyes. You look to the side. Oh, that's okay. You okay it. You say it's okay, but you know in your mind it's not okay with you. You know it's irritating you, and then it escalates. It goes from being annoying to irritating. Now it's out of control. Next thing you're cheating on the person. So before you get to that extent, before you get to the point where you're going and being unfaithful, walk away. Walk away from a toxic relationship. You know, if you're looking to other people to get that emotional support, and the same thing vice versa, when it comes to guys, I'm not a man, but I know one thing's for sure. If you are not feeling safe, that you can pull down your barriers, your wall, that you don't feel comfortable, that you can talk about things without being clowned, if you don't feel safe, if there's not peace in your home or your situation and your relationship, that's not going to change, you know? And everybody will know but us. Ask me how I know, because I've been there and I was there for many years. Oh, yeah, Marlene's so smart. Yeah, I was smart, you know, educationally, college educated, this educated. But when it came to the real life, sometimes in the real life, we're not doing what we know we need to do, because we're hanging around people that tank us, that bring us down, because they don't want you to escalate, because they know when you escalate, you're going to leave them behind, because they're not willing to make any changes. They're comfortable doing whatever it is that they want to do, and to each his or her own. Everybody doesn't want to do a different career. Everybody doesn't have bigger and wider goals. That's okay. But if you're a person who is seeking to do whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you have these goals and these plans, and you don't have people in your life that are supportive of your goals and your plans and your elevation, you, I'm not asking, it's not optional. You must leave those situations. I stayed stagnant for years and years, being behind a man, being behind other friends or relatives or other people that they were comfortable. If a person is in a situation where they're comfortable, you cannot stay around comfortable people and try to elevate. You can't. I tried it for many years, because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to be different from other people. And then they'll start saying things like, you think you're better and all of these things. No, it's not about thinking I'm better. I've wanted to do something for a long time. Jackie says, what is understood doesn't need to be explained. And when you're around the right people, I'll tell you something. When you're around the right people will say, what you doing? The right people's like, use that gift. Use what's been downloaded inside of you. Well, the people who know. People, when you're a bright light, when you're a bright light, nobody can should be able to stop your shine. And sometimes people are intimidated by your brightness. They're intimidated by your strength and your courage. They don't know how you do it. How do you maintain? Everybody can see our gifts. I want to say this to all of you. Sometimes we have these major extreme talents, right? These amazing gifts that we are been given. Some people have the gift of, being a linguist, being I can't think of the name, it just went out of my head, but very artistic. We have poets and singers and lyricists and all types of people, businessmen, businesswomen, and they just have it going on. And when you know that about yourself, when you know that you can do better, why settle? Why settle with the monotony? Why settle for the average when you can know that you can excel? See, and a lot of times everybody knows that we deserve to be way, way, way up there, but you settle because that's where your friends are vibrating. That's where the person you're in a relationship is vibrating, but you want to go past that. You know you can do past that. And it's not gloating, it's not showing off or anything like that. But I knew in certain relationships that it wasn't ever going to work because I had a strong drive to do X, Y, and Z. And they just wanted to stay right there. They were very comfortable and happy where they are. And, like I always say, to each his or her own, but you have to know what is good for you. I wanted to say that to all of you. You have to know what is good for you. You have to know what brings you peace and makes you happy. And I did want to say this to everybody. Everyone knows but you. I want to speak for a moment those who stay in that space of being hushed in silence. I know a lot of people go through a lot of family secrets, right? hmm Family secrets is something that is crushing. Some things that I've heard in many, many communities, from counseling and mentoring, finding out that your auntie is actually your mom, or you know your uncle is really your father. It's a lot of things that people go through, traumatic stuff, and everyone knows, but everybody keeps the secret. Or certain things, like I know that when it comes to sexuality, people keep things in the closet about you know their preference, and all of those things, and that's hidden. So there's a lot of things that happen within families, and everybody has them. Family secrets. You take that to the grave, and we don't talk about those things, but not talking about things is not good. Silence is not the answer. And I know for sure, many family secrets. I come from a really big family. A family is 10 kids. My mom, my dad, and my extended family, aunts and uncles and cousins. So it was always a lot of people around, but you could be around a lot of people and feel lonely. I don't know how many people go through that. You could have a very small family. It could just be maybe your mother and you, or it could be your father and you, or whatever it was when you were as a child growing up. It could be your grandparent and you, or it could be your uncle or your aunt and you, whatever it is. So we have to have enough courage to not let whatever happened in our upbringing, in our childhood, whatever traumas from our previous relationship, to stop us from being happy. You know, um, it's a hard thing when you find out something about your past, when you find out about if your mother, you find out the person you were calling mom is actually your auntie, or you find out that your uncle is your father, or you find out that your sister is not your sister, that she was adopted, or your brother was adopted. There's a lot of secrets, and I don't know why it happens in many bloodlines, many relatives. We hide secrets. We hide the secrets because I don't know, maybe for some it's the shame, it's the embarrassment. And I know way back in the day, um, within our family, we had some of that where if you were pregnant before you were married, that was a shameful thing. So you would leave your child behind with your auntie, and then you go about your life, and you never get to see your child because now your auntie is raising your child. So it's a lot of pain and hurt, but that you don't even know, and people hold on to those secrets. People hold on to the pain for many, many years, and sometimes you don't even know. I've heard of some people, they didn't even find out who their parents were until something major happened with their health. Okay, some major thing happened with their health, like they go in and maybe they need a kidney, or they need whatever, something, and you find out that's not even your mother. maybe it was a friend of your mother raised you. There are a lot of secrets that happen, and everybody will know, but you're the one that's in the dark. And yes, yes, Miss Jackie, it could be something very, very serious that you need something, and then from that blood test, you find out this isn't this isn't even my relative. We're not related at all. Or you find out that that's not your mother or your father as they have claimed to be. So, you know, I think everyone has secrets. Every family has secrets. Every person has secrets that they don't want to have revealed. Right, Tamika, they sure do. It's a lot of things that happen in families and with people. And I wanted to say this. I don't know what happened to Miss Nexie today, but um, I know one thing that she wanted to talk about was when you have a relative and or when you have a significant other and everybody in the family will know that you've stepped outside and you have your side person. Everybody everybody will know that you're the mistress, but sometimes in relatives or with friends, we know and we see things, right? We see that our friends or our relatives or other people got a man that's a dog. You got a woman that's a female dog, and you just it's disgusting. And it's hard to see that, but I guess most people don't want to get involved in it. They don't want to involve themselves in the middle of it and make that person hate them, because sometimes it backfires when you're trying to support your friend or your relative or whoever, and you just want to let them know because it's just not right the way you are being treated. But a lot of times everyone knows you're the mistress. Everyone knows that that's not your parents or that's not your whoever, and nobody will say anything. Or um for many years, finding out you didn't know that a person in your family had some very serious disease. I know now it's not something hidden, but back in the day, it was something like people truly hid um, being HIV positive, having AIDS, things like that, and that was hidden back in the day. Maybe now, not so much. There's more awareness and people are living longer with it, but back in the day, that was something that there's no way that people would let people know because they thought all kinds of things. I remember being a little kid and thinking that you could get HIV by touching someone that had it or something. Because we were just getting knowledge about things, there was a lot of speculation and misrepresentation and so much stuff. But regardless of whatever is going on, regardless of the situation that you may find yourself in, whether you're on the outside of a situation, okay, whether you're on the outside or whether you're on the inside, whether it's you, and you're the one that a secret is happening against you, or of a secret, it's difficult. Yeah, yes, it was, Miss Jackie. It's very difficult to know secrets, and you really have to have a very special relationship with people to be able to tell somebody honestly what is going on. Okay, it's very hard to tell a person that you care about. It's really hard to tell somebody that you love. Um, Something that you've known for years, maybe your nephews or your nieces, you know their parents, like They've always been asking for their mother or the father, and the mother or the father are deadbeats, because they're deadbeats on both sides. There's deadbeat mamas and there's deadbeat daddies. I don't discriminate, but and go just based on women. On both sides, there's bad parents on both ends, and your nieces or your nephews and cousins, they may be asking for their mother. They may be asking for their father. You know what happened. Maybe their mother is addicted to, whatever substance, alcohol, drugs, whatever. Or maybe their parent has been in prison. Maybe it's whatever it is. Or they're maybe have a whole family. Maybe that child was the product of adultery. you know it's what it is, and you can do something to maybe help them to be able to process it a little better, but you never say anything. um, and I've heard that over and over again. The poor kid is always saying, "Where's my mama? Where's my daddy?" And we know, but you don't want to be the person to break trust of your cousin or your sibling or whoever it is. So you choose to just keep your mouth closed, and everybody knows. But that poor child suffers for years wanting to know, where's my mama and where's my daddy? But it's really not our place to say those things. It's whoever is raising the child that should tell that child. And it breaks my heart in a million pieces when I see a child that always asks for their mama and their daddy, and they never get the answer that they're seeking. Like, why not tell the child their dad is incarcerated? Why not tell that their mother is incarcerated, or that they have some issues that they need to work on, that they have an addiction problem. We think sometimes that children are not mature enough to be able to handle it, but children are way smarter than we think. you know Give them the opportunity, and to ask questions. Tell them how you feel. As like I said from the beginning, I came from the generation to where we were seen and not heard, and we didn't talk about things. We would see certain people, and I used to think to myself as a child, why isn't their mother around? Why isn't their father around? Why do they live with this person or that person? But we knew better. You zip your mouth, you shut up, you mind your own business. But now as an adult, I still have those same questions. Whatever happened to their mother or their father or anybody? And I think everybody has people that they know of, that there's poor children and they never have a stable environment. They never feel loved and supported and cared on. And my heart always breaks for those people when there had to just be one person to be mature, whether it's the mother or the father, the auntie, the uncle, the grandparent, somebody that loved that child. And while that's wonderful, I'm so happy that somebody picked up the pieces and chose to love that child. But I still always get upset that life and people made poor choices and didn't choose to love on their babies, and breaks my heart in a million pieces. You know, at me being a person that I have never given birth to a child, but I've always loved children. I have a special place in my heart, and I think that's one of the reasons why I am in the field of hospitality and social work, and the medical field, and skincare. It's all kind of interrelated because I like to do things to help people to feel good about themselves. You know, all every job I've ever done in my life has always been a job to help people to feel good, to feel supported, and to feel loved. I think because of certain issues from my past, from my childhood, and all of that stuff. So I think everybody just does the best that they can. Yes, Miss Jackie is so true. Jackie says some people don't know how to love because they were never taught how to love, and I find that to be so sad. It is so sad and it's so tragic that there's some men out there that could be 30, 40, 50 years old and they've never been hugged. They've never been loved, and vice versa. And some women that they've never been hugged and loved and told how important and special they are. And I want to say to all of those people, anybody in my loved one's family, if you've never been loved and hugged and told how special you are, you know, we can't go back in the past for those immature, toxic people maybe that you have been around, but start today. Start today and start with yourself. This is a channel all about love. This channel is dedicated to loving ourselves, and sometimes in our life we get a rough set of cards. We get brought up in a very toxic environment, and then you have toxic friendships and toxic relationships. But eventually one day we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and choose ourselves, choose to love ourselves, choose to love you, even when everybody in our life maybe didn't love us. Sometimes our relatives don't love us. Sometimes the people around us don't care about us. We can't do anything about it. We can't. But what we can do is love ourselves, be ourselves, support ourselves, respect ourselves, and yeah. So anybody out there that has had some family secrets, maybe you have had some secrets, maybe you've seen things and heard things, and you've heard the tea and the gossip with relatives and with friends, and maybe at your exes or other people, and it hurts and it's very traumatic. It's tough. My heart goes out to anybody that never feels supported and loved and encouraged, all of those things. And I just wanted to say, sometimes the people that we don't get to choose who we're related to. We don't get to choose the life that we have. But as an adult, we have to choose to love ourselves. We have to choose to respect ourselves. We have to choose to follow our dreams. And yeah, sometimes you could have terrible relatives. You could have terrible quote unquote friends. You have terrible spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend experiences. You could go through a lot. You could lose your shirt. You could lose all the money that you have. You could go bankrupt. But, give yourself the opportunity to elevate once again. Give yourself that opportunity. I wanted to say that to all of you. Give yourself the opportunity to grow and to elevate. You know, Look at yourself in the mirror and to say, "I choose me." For the first time in my life, I had to make that decision a few years ago. Choose to heal, choose to be happy, choose to have peace, even if other people in my life didn't choose me. I had to choose myself, and the same thing for all of you. Even if other people don't choose you and don't love you and don't support you and don't care about you, but you can make a choice to love yourself. You can make that choice. Miss Jackie says when people are hurt, they tend to carry it into other relationships. Um, Not being aware that it's not normal. Yes, they feel that it's normal. Coming from being around relatives and they never communicated, they didn't show affection, they didn't talk about the past, they hid all the secrets, everything. I had to, get to the point as an adult to say, that's not normal and that's not okay. Just because other people around you choose to hide, choose to be secretive, choose to be toxic and not do certain things, that is normal. What is normal is to communicate. What is normal is to have healthy relationships with people who ask about you, who support you, who understand you and are there for you. And if those people are not in your life, you got to have enough courage to find it. Seek people who actually will check on you. Seek relationships with somebody that will ask you questions, ask how your day is, ask if there's something that they can do for you. If you don't have people like that in your life, you need to look, search and seek to find it. And it's rare. And if you have people in your life that actually support you and love you and understand you and listen to you, make sure you're telling them, I appreciate you. I love you. I'm here for you. If there's something that you need, I'm here for you. Don't be a user. It's so easy to take people for granted. And I know coming from where I came from, I wasn't used, it was something new. I had to learn to say thank you. I had to learn to say, I appreciate you. Thank you for your presence in my life. Thank you for your patience and your kindness, your long suffering, all of it. If you have people in your life and they support you when you're acting stupid, when they forgive you, when they're there for you and they check on you, even when you don't ask them, even when you're not acting right. See, you have a gold mine if you have people who check on you and ask you, even when you're not acting right. They still love you, anyways. Love should not come with conditions. The only condition should be an open heart. That's it. Yes, it doesn't make us evolve. We should dismiss it. Yes, Miss Jackie. A lot of people think communication is the key, is comprehension, because you can talk all day long, but if you don't understand, it is useless. What I say all the time, Miss Jackie, is you you have to communicate with elevated, this is the combination, elevated, healed, peaceful, and people of value. It has to be those four things. If a person doesn't value themselves, if a person doesn't respect themselves, if a person isn't at peace, and if a person has not forgiven and healed themselves and healed others, there's no way they're going to ever be there for you. There's no way. You can't be there for others until you learn how to be there for yourself, until you learn how to forgive, until you learn how to heal, until you learn how to trust, until you learn to communicate. And because if you could be talking to people like Miss Jackie says, but if they don't comprehend, if they don't care, you know, sometimes a person can understand exactly what you said, but they don't care. See, the compassion has to be there, the open heart has to be there, the reasoning, because a person can comprehend lots of things. It's a lot of people who are very intellectual, right? Very intellectual. They very smart. There's people who are like genius level, but simple, basic things when it comes to compassion, they'll never get it because they could be intellectual, but they can be evil at the same time. Hi, Queen Bee, how are you doing? Yes, Miss Jackie. Sometimes if we're not at peace, it will leave us in pieces. Say that again. If we are not in the space to where we've healed, to where we've forgiven, it's just never going to work. It will never ever work until we work the system, we work the plan. And even though I went through the process of first putting it out there and saying, you know what, I deserve better than this. I don't know who's ever come to that space. I'm doing great, Queen Bee. I'm glad. I hope you are as well. I had to come to that space of realization and maturity as a woman to say, I deserve happiness. I deserve to use my gifts. I deserve to love myself. I deserve respect. And I deserve to use my gifts. Even if other people don't see it, don't like it, it's not important to them, but it's about what's important to me. What do I value? And the people who care about you, they will value what you value because it's rubbish, it's foolishness, it's all lies. If people want to be there for you, they will be there for you. I'm tired of hearing the narrative, the conversation, the excuse. I'm busy. Everybody's busy. Every woman and every man is busy, but it's about making time for what's important to you. And that's something that I had to learn. You could care about people, but they don't care about you. They don't care about what you have going on because it's all about them. If it doesn't support what they need, they don't understand. Uh, that's not important to me. That's not helping me. So why should I listen to it? I've heard that in relationships. Oh, I don't like that. So I'm not going to listen to what that woman has to say. Or that's not important to me. So I'm not going to listen to what that man has to say. If a person is important to you, what is important to them should be important to you. If a person, if they have something to say, if they're trying to open up their heart to you, you need to make time. You need to make the moments, clear your schedule for 5 or 10 minutes to have a conversation. Yes, priority over importance. Yeah, it's a choice. And you have to be in a space of maturity. I'll tell you that. Because if you have the wrong person, if you're in the wrong romantic relationship and you want to talk about emotional, physical, and spiritual things you have going on, if you're with the wrong person, all they'll be like is they'll be rolling their eyes, huffing and puffing, be on their phone scrolling. They won't be there with you. So you don't have to always understand what somebody is going through because everybody goes through different things, but you can be there. Sometimes all we need to do as a woman or a man is to be there, making a choice. I don't understand. I have never been through that, but I'm making a choice. I'm here for you. Everything you're saying to me right now is important. I may not get it, you know. Sometimes as a woman, I don't understand some things that men are going through because I'm not a man, and vice versa. I'm sure that there's things that women go through that men don't understand, but they make the choice. I may not understand it, but I'm still going to support you. I'm still going to listen. I'm still going to make you know that I'm here. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take the moment. I'm going to pause my call, whatever, because they'll give you the priority. Yes, Queen Bee, I agree. And I think that that's something to most people don't make a choice. A lot of people, they choose their relatives, they choose a romantic partner, they choose their children, they choose everybody, they choose the job all over themselves. Some people never get to the position that they ever love themselves, and they'll say it all. Oh yeah, I love myself, but that's just on the surface. They love themselves enough to probably get wake up and do personal care and probably eat some food and go get a job, but then that's as far as it goes. They don't get any deeper. They don't go deeper inside of themselves on a spiritual level and find out, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my gift? Hold on one second, guys. Okay. I think I'm back, guys. Please let me know that it's back. Okay. If we, Miss Jackie says, if we don't step forward, we will always remain in the same place. We sure will. We'll remain in the same place for as long as, oh, it is back. Thank you so much, Miss Jackie. If we don't step forward, we will always remain in the same place. So that's something that I wanted to say to all of you. Until we make that decision, you know, until we make the decision to say, I want better, I deserve better, and then I'm going to do better. For me, it was in a three-part. First, I had to say, I want better. Then I have to say, I'm going to get some help. And then it was the action of all of those things. Because I want better, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to support myself. Let's welcome Miss Nexie to the show.
Hello, Miss Marlene. I am
I,
so sorry. Oh, you have no idea how I was rushing here. I was listening to it, I just couldn't join because I
oh,
was at work.
no, yeah, it's all good. I'm going to read this comment from Queen. So Queen Bee says, like you said, maturity, and with maturity comes wisdom and knowledge. Yes, it does. So much wisdom and knowledge, Queen Bee. Thank you for your comment. Yes, let's welcome Miss Nexie to the show. How are you doing, Miss Nexie?
Hello, everyone. I am doing great, Miss Marlene. I have been so unaccustomed to, going to work every day as I used to, that I
Hmm.
forget that, when you get there, it's hard to go. It's hard to
Yes.
and thank God I work close by, but still it was like I have to go. I have to go. I have to go. But here I am. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me, and I apologize deeply for being late.
Oh, no, no, no. No problem. No problemo. I started late anyways. So, Miss
Yes.
Nixie, we're talking about everyone knows but you.
Oh man, we gotta. Yep, I was listening. I have you know where we come from. I'm from a very small, tiny little country in Central America, and a
Hmm.
lot of men out there have this thing of having a wife or someone that they a mate that they live with, and then they have two or three on the side.
Hmm.
And the saddest thing is that it's something that people are so used to that it's not a big deal, right? Oh yeah, everybody does it. Oh yeah, all men have that. And it's like, that's not normal. That's not, you know, the right thing to do. So I had a friend a childhood friend I grew up with. Sorry about that noise. Somebody's excited today because I'm back. Um, and we grew up together. Um, she met this person. School. We went about an hour away to our high school, and from where we lived. And she met this gentleman over there, and they were. He was a little bit older than we were, so I was kind of like, I don't think it's appropriate, but to each their own, right? I thought it was kind of weird that he was in his mid 20s and we're you know 16-year-old girls. Like that's kind of weird to me. So my friend started like he started with me, but I rejected him right away. I said, "Oh no, we're not gonna go there. You're too old for me, and my dad will kill you." Oops, I'm sorry. My dad would unalive you, and my brothers will, they will not find your body. So no, we
Yep.
don't let's not go there. So my friend, she started, kind of like he went to her, and she was reciprocating everything he was giving her, and I had this feeling like, I don't know, this is weird because he's like like I said, mid 20s at that point back home, and I'm sure, Marlene, it's kind of the same for you. We get married very young.
Mhm.
Normally, by 18 we're married. So anyway,
Yep.
so my friend starts dating him. I'm like kind of weirded out about it, but I said nothing. I was like, okay, whatever. So at one point, my father and I, we went to, my school because he had to pay some fees. And long story short, I see him, the guy that is with my friend at this point for like almost 7, 8 months. They're together making plans. I see him with a lady and three little children. And I thought at first, oh, that's probably his sister or something like that. But then, the lady's calling him honey, or sweetheart, and then he's holding the
Oh.
kids and holding her hand. And I was like, I don't think that's his sister. But I told my dad, that guy is with my friend. My dad said, oh, I heard about it. I heard that he went after you, and you said no. And yeah, he's a married man. He has a wife and children. And he says, and that's not the only wife and children he has. He has another mistress with a child as well, another young girl. So
Mm.
he was known. I tell my friend, and she tells me that it's not true. That he had told her that I was going to say something to her to break them up because I was
Wow.
jealous of their relationship.
Oh.
So when this title, when you said yesterday, everybody knows but you,
Mm.
I went back to my friend and I wanted to tell you this today, this story, because it is so funny that they work us, because sometimes, we're victims of this too. They work us so well that we believe them, but not everybody else around them, around us, that have been with us for longer than these
Mhm.
people have. But we are so caught up on the love and the future that we think we will have with them, that we stop believing people around us. And so our
Yeah.
friendship ended. And I lost track of her because, I immigrated to this country. So I lost track of her, and I asked my father, probably like 6, 7 years after I had already come to this beautiful country. And my dad said, oh yeah, she's with him. They have 2 kids together. And she just, she's having a rough time with him because he's,
Mm.
he's a womanizer. And
Oh.
now she knows that you were right, and that he was married, and now she's the side dish, and she has no choice
Mm.
but to be with him because now they have kids together. Now somebody else is not gonna want to, take her and those kids and
Yep.
turn. You know what I mean? Like it's so. I lost track of her. My dad too. She said she moved away, but the thing is that this is years later, and she was still with him. So sad.
Mm. The sad part is that even when people, and like I'll say, for example, not your friend. Oh, hi, Miss Betty. Retirement is here.
Hi, Miss Betty.
um Sometimes, Miss Nexie, we can feel something is wrong with a person. We may not
Hmm.
know exactly what it is, but I can say, I don't know if it's women's intuition, I don't know what you call it, but there's some, you're like, there's something going
I
on.
cannot put my finger on it, but
I
there's
can't put
something
my
I don't
finger
like
on it,
about this person.
and you don't have any facts. But I'm telling you, I believe it can happen to men too, that you feel it in your
Yes,
spirit. Your spirit is telling
Marlene.
you, like,
Yes,
Yeah,
when you
you're like,
meet a girlfriend or you meet a wife, and you're like, oh, there's something about this person that I don't
yeah,
feel my
yep,
friend should be with this person. But there's nothing that you have. It's reference,
concrete,
something that you have.
concrete
Yeah, exactly.
evidence. Yeah,
Concrete evidence or reference that this person is not who they say they are, but you have that feeling,
yep,
you have that hunch, like, I don't know, there's something that's telling me that
thing.
my
Hmm.
friend should not be, or my brother or my cousin, whoever, should not be with this person. And then they get together and you start seeing
Yeah.
the workings of them trying to remove them from the family, or how flirtatious they are with other men. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you're like, I knew there was
Yeah.
something about her I didn't like.
Oh, Queen Bee says I have a question for Miss Nexie.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and ask
Yes.
Queen Bee.
Go
Um,
ahead, Miss Queen Bee.
I'm already. I'm already saying yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. And she's already like, I have no choice but to answer that question now. Thank you, Miss Marlene.
I already said. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Ask her. Ask her.
Yeah, you're like my coworker. She, whenever they ask me, can you work? Oh yeah, she can do it, right? You're not doing anything tomorrow, right? Because she wants me there with her. She's like, oh yeah, she's available. I'm like, what? I am.
Oh,
Who
oh,
says who?
Miss Nexie. Are you ready for this question?
Yes, I am. Uh
Okay.
oh.
The question from Queen Bee says, "Are you opposed to poly relationships?"
Mm, I personally wouldn't be in something like that. I'm not opposed to them if the person is open about it and speaks to each one of their partners. You know what I mean? If it's not something that it's that you're in a poly and you don't know. If the person is, true to themselves and says, you know what, I am polyamorous and I want to have more than one husband or boyfriend, or more than one wife, or woman, if they are open and the other partner is okay with it, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. To each
Yeah.
their own. But I wouldn't be able to do that. And not
Yeah.
because of jealousy or anything. I think it's more of a health issue. Like, I don't want to catch anything.
Me, 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 Miss Nexie. I'm too crazy. So, yeah.
Jealous crazy or just crazy?
I no, I'm just crazy, Perry.
No,
for,
for me,
for being honest, Miss Nexie, one person is way that sometimes one person is way too much for me.
did on that one, Marlene. What she just said. What she said. That's gonna be our closing. What she said. But yes, I don't. I think it's, if there is group of people, right? The
Hmm.
certain religions that follow that,
Right.
that lifestyle. Although it's a little, biased when it comes to religion, because it's only the men that are able to have many wives. It's not a woman that is
Mhm.
able to have many husbands.
Right.
But some women, I don't mind it as far as jealousy, because I don't suffer from that. But for me, it's more of, I don't know. Well, I don't know where you've been, so.
Yeah. Oh, Queen Bee says, I ask because we live in times where people are more open about relationships. The
Mhm.
people who have the open relationships like that.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and you know what, Queen Bee, if, let's say, you're married to someone, or you're getting married to someone, and this person says to you, you know what, I really want to have somebody else besides you. It's
Hmm.
not that I don't love you, it's just that this is who I am. If that's what you go in with, knowing that this person is,
Hmm.
they're telling you at front, this is who I am. I want to have more than one relationship because I'm not satisfied with just one woman. If that is the case and you go in knowingly and willingly, then you have no way to complain. You're going in
Mhm.
with your open,
Because you
open
knew.
eyes. You
Mhm.
knew, But if this person is like that and lies to you that he is faithful, and then you find out he has five or six different women, then that, yeah, I don't condone that. I think
Mhm.
that's snakish, like Miss Marlene says.
Hey,
That's snakish.
that's my word.
Not
I
no
love
more,
to
not
I
no
love
more.
to hear people using my terms. Yes.
Well, nah, never mind. I was about to say something about people using your stuff, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be polite because we're live.
Miss
But
Nexie.
I don't like people using your stuff. But that's, I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, yeah, yep. We're not gonna go there. Queen Bee says before marriage, contracts, people lived as tribes with multiple wives and husbands.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people believe in it, but
And
personally, for
I,
Marlene, it's a
I'm
no.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm over here interrupting before I forget. But Queen Bee and Miss Marlene and the rest of the chat. Where I'm from El Salvador. Like I said, it's a very tiny little country in Central America.
Mm-hmm.
In the town where I lived in, we were in Portugal, right? So it's very close to
Mm-hmm.
another, you know, uh, um, country, Guatemala. So we had a lot of tourism. We had a lot of people come in and go, but our town has stayed with the same local people for many, many, many years. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, we had a neighbor, probably about 10. I can say neighbor because back then, everybody lived
Yeah.
nearby, and even if it was 5-10 miles away, you could still consider them neighbor because we were so close together.
Yep.
Bandolap, we knew everybody because the town
Everyone
was
knew
so small.
everybody. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because it was like a 4,000 population back then, so it was very little.
Wow.
Exactly, when I was growing up. So we all knew each other, and we had this man. We went to school with his children. He had one, two, three, four wives, four women. He had like a 5 or 10 acre piece of land, and he had four women living with him and having their children, and they were open about it. Like there was no secret. Everybody knew that his wife and the other three were his women, and they all had kids. They lived in the same 5-10 acre farm, and they all had their little houses. And people in the town, it was kind of weird learning as a child because you don't know what that means, right? You're
Yeah.
like, okay, they're fully okay, so they're probably sisters. They're probably whatever. So
Yeah.
you don't think that is like kind of like many wives, one husband.
Mhm.
There's grapes, not grapes, but something involved, because
Right.
the ones were young. Like some of the wives were very young, 16, 17 years old, like kind of weird. And he was like in his
Mhm.
late 30s, probably 40s, no, in his 40s, because we went to school with his kids. And so we knew that he had the main lady, which was his wife, and then he had built three, so he had four houses, kind of far apart from each other. And so when we used to go play, like when we used to go invited to, like go play at their house with the kids, we would jump from house to house to house because like I said, we all went to school with the kids. So we'll go, let's go drink water in my house. Or let's go get something to eat in my house. And it was weird because everybody called him dad. So I was like, how many kids does this guy
Yeah. How many
like?
kids? Yeah.
And so for me it was like the main lady was the mom, but my dad eventually explained to me, no, yeah, that's his wife, but then he has this other three that are his wives too. And I was like, what? So yeah, I grew up with someone like that. So I think that
Mm.
as a child growing up, seeing someone with many women around, and it's somewhat normal, it normalizes it in your brain, because I
Yep.
don't get shocked anymore when I see that people have more than one wife, right?
Yep.
Or that certain religious they practice, you know, having multiple wives, multiple children, and sometimes it works. It's
Yeah.
a great system.
Yeah, it works for, if it's working for you, then it works for you. Every
Exactly.
every single person is different. And one thing that I talked about, Miss Next, I don't know if you were listening when I was talking about it, but talking about, secrets and stuff that everybody knows, like growing up and not knowing that your your mother, who you call your mother, is actually your grandmother or your auntie. Because back in the day, how, if you were married, like your mother or your aunt or your grandmother would raise you, because your mom was not married at the time, and that's just, and they would just leave you and go about their life like you didn't exist, which is so weird. And that woman's supposed to go on like she never had a child. I don't know. It just
It,
it messed me up, because I found out that a few people that I knew, later on we found out that that's not my mom, that's my auntie, or that's my, or vice versa, or my grandmother is actually my mother. It's just weird. Or my uncle is my dad. Just, I
again,
mean,
it's kind
really
of,
messed up some people. Really messed up some people.
you know, it. I grew up with just a dad, right? I grew up with just my dad.
Mhm.
And even though I knew that I had a mom, that it was my father's wife,
Mhm.
growing up, I felt like maybe she's not my mom because she left, right? So maybe I'm somebody else, and my siblings would tell me, "Oh no, we picked you up from the trash can. My dad found you. You were all thrown away because nobody wanted you." So when they will get mad, they will say things like that to me. And my mom leaving, I will think like, "Oh my god!" But it messes people up because you rob that person from their identity,
Yes.
right? And the lasting effect, and this is, we had
Mm.
she was adopted,
Mhm.
but she never knew adopted her. I called them all aunties, but these are like great 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 auntie whatever. So she was adopted as a child because my aunt and uncle, they couldn't have children, and they adopted my auntie and three or four more kids.
Mm.
Um, but they never told them, Marlene, that they were adopted
Mm.
until they were older. Now, my aunt, as anyone who's been told that you are adopted, you're not my flesh and blood,
Mhm.
that messes up people as well, because the lie. Why didn't you tell me? Why?
From the
Why? What's
beginning.
exactly like? Why am I tainted? Am I so
Yeah.
unwanted? Is there something wrong with my background that you didn't want me to know? Which is, the lie. So my
Mhm.
aunt started researching, trying to find out where she came from. As she got older, she had a falling out with my aunt for many years. I
Mm.
think it took my auntie becoming a mother for her to go back to her mom, which is my auntie, like the one that adopted her, ask her for forgiveness and tell her, I appreciate that you adopted me and didn't allow me to grow up in an orphanage.
Yeah.
um and so it took her to be a mom for her to understand a
Right.
mother's love. But she started researching her own family, her own background. And the
Mhm.
saddest thing, Miss Marlene, is that back then you weren't required to put down who your parents were.
Yeah. You are.
My auntie never found who her mother,
Oh.
her father, if she had other siblings, if she had other family. And it
Mm-mm.
was something she died with, longing for. But, and I'm talking to you back in the, late 70s, as my auntie's at this point is very old. She's still searching for her
Mm,
parents,
your
but there was
parents.
no DNA, there was nothing like that, so you didn't really know, and you weren't required
To put it like now, like how they have a space for your mother, your father, the family name and all that stuff. You there, Miss Nixie? Well, we're waiting for Miss Nixie. Hi, Flurk. How are you doing? Welcome. Yes, Queen Bee, family secrets can mess up people really bad. Yeah, it came back.
sorry, I think it's my internet that has been acting up. But here in this country, thank God, it's very difficult because even if it's a sealed adoption, you know who your parents are. There, it's required at the hospital to get your name. They take your driver's license. Even back then, that you had to give
Hmm.
your name. You couldn't just go deliver a baby and not, anonymously. You couldn't do that.
Yeah,
Back home, there were no such thing. You literally could just dump a baby and you could give a fake name. They wouldn't question. Just get the
yeah,
baby and give him up for adoption. So my
yeah.
auntie died not knowing. I'm sorry, she passed
Mm,
away. She passed on not knowing who her parents were. And it does a number on people. On the person that is
big number.
left behind, it does a number on a person because your identity is like, you want to know, does my mom think like me? Does my mom look like
Hmm.
me?
Does she
Does
is
she
she
have this weird
artistic like
hands of
me?
mine?
Does she? Yeah, like
And
you want
why
to know
didn't
like
she
your
love me?
habits. You want to know like your behaviors and your habits. Where do you get
Hmm.
that from?
And why did she leave me? Like, was I
Hmm.
that unwanted? Was I that
Yeah,
unplanned? You want an explanation. Maybe it's not something that you want to hear, but for closure's sake, you need that.
you need to know.
And
Hmm.
I had to tell you, like, I know I wasn't abandoned and I wasn't um left in the trash can like my siblings wanted me to be. They wanted to throw me away a lot. Well, and we're not gonna get into that. But even though I was left with my father, raised by my father. I knew who my mother was. I
Mm,
had to ask, why did you do that? I had to know why she left me.
why, Julie? Hmm.
Even though, remember, Miss Marlene, it has not affected me at all. I was
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, of
The
course, because we're
therapist,
perfect.
I
We're
gave him a
perfect, Miss
look.
Nixon. Yeah.
I gave him a look like, are you kidding me? I just told you it didn't affect me that she left me. It's okay. Big deal. I grew up okay. He looked at me and I was like, what's wrong with you?
No, that's
Even
when
though,
I said I wasn't affected. Boy, that's when they took out the pen and
that
smoke coming
look,
out of that pen.
Marlene, that look that the cartoons like the Roadrunner gets when he's about to fall from the other guys, that they look at him like, oh, you're about to fall on your face. That's the look I got from my therapist when I told them it has not
Oh.
affected me. I'm a good
Mhm,
mom. I grew up okay, fine. I said I
mhm.
grew up perfect. He looked at me and started writing. I said, whoa. Why are
Yep.
you writing? I grew up
Yep.
perfect. He wrote again. I'm like, I'm perfect. Again, he wrote. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm telling
Yeah,
you, I'm
like
okay.
the more you say you're okay is the more, I guess that's more points that okay, I got to work on this
No,
more.
when I said I'm okay, he stopped writing. When I was saying I grew up perfectly fine, I'm perfect. Then he started writing. It's okay. It didn't
Mm,
affect me. I grew up in a perfect way. Again, he started writing. I'm like, whoa, quit it.
yeah.
Quit that writing. So for me, I wasn't adopted. I wasn't left in an orphanage or anything. Or
Mhm.
but I knew who my mom. I know who she is. I knew who she was. I was
Right.
left with father and siblings, but I needed to know why. Like, did
Why?
you not want me? Like, did you? Was it because I wasn't planned that you left me? Or was it because I
Mhm.
was like, you didn't want to raise any more kids? You've had it and you didn't want me, and that's why you reached. So I had to know. I had to. I asked the question. I didn't get a straight answer. I got a
Mm.
what you want to hear type of answer, which I
Oh,
thought it was patronizing. So I said, you
mm,
know what? If you're not going to give me a straight answer, then never mind.
mm.
It's okay. I got it. You know,
Guess Miss Nexie. I don't think it could be as bad as what my mom said about me. Why she had me.
really?
Mm-mm.
Uh
I don't
oh.
think it could be as bad. I don't think nothing. It's like, and it wasn't something I was prepared for because I was just like, something you ask your mom, like, "Hey, mom, why'd you have me?" It's like, it's like I couldn't help it back then. We didn't use birth control. I was like, oh, what
Well,
about because I wanted you, because I love you,
yeah.
because yeah, it's like,
Well,
oh, just because you were born, we didn't use birth control. Like, okay, I didn't have no choice. I'm like,
my
nice.
my
Nice, nice,
that was very
nice.
sweet. That was
I
very
was
very
like, oh
sweet.
yeah. I was like, oh, that's where I get all my love from.
This is where my love security comes from. This blanket of yours, mother. Does it have a warmer somewhere where I can turn it on? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I wanted
But
to hold on one second, Miss
yes.
Nexie. I want to read some of these comments here. Queen Bee says, my friend's grandfather was really her father. Yikes.
Ouch.
And she said, family secrets can really mess up people bad. True. Now, through the site Ancestry, a lot of people's family secrets are exposed because DNA does not lie.
Hmm.
Realist says, the thing about family secrets, some folk will speak on your business but forget their skeletons.
Hmm.
Wow, wow,
So
wow,
true.
wow, wow, wow. Yeah, one size
Yes.
does not fit all. Everyone is different. Yeah,
Everybody is.
everybody's
And
different.
for me it was very sad because again, I think I seen my auntie Marlene go through the search of her, family, and I will see, even though she was happily married, she had children, she that void in her life of I was unwanted, even though my great aunt gave her all the love in the world, and
Hmm.
my uncle too, my great uncle, they gave her all the love in the world, all the attention to her and the rest of the kids. I think the
Hmm.
biggest mistake they made was lying to them, not telling them they were
Yeah,
adopted.
from
I
the
think
beginning.
exactly, because I think that by the time because they found out, oh, this is how they found out, because she's
Oh
the
no.
eldest, she's the oldest, right? So when
Hmm.
she's about to get married,
No, Miss Nexie.
yes,
No, no,
yes, ma'am,
no.
the birth certificate, they ask you over there, they ask you for an original copy of your birth certificate so you can apply for a marriage license.
Mhm.
So my auntie had the regular copy that they give you, so my cousin had to go and get her original, and that's how she found out that it said adoption agency.
Ooh.
Yeah, and parents, they listed my aunt and uncle, but former parents, or birth parents, they had none. It was blank. They had no idea. And so that's how she found out that she was adopted, and then she started questioning my aunt and uncle. And I
What?
was young at this point, I was like, I wasn't at the point in age that you understand what's going on.
Mhm.
So I was sad that she had to find out in her 19th, birthday, because it's when she was getting married, that she was adopted, and that she had
Unbelievable.
no family to speak of. And it was sad. So when my siblings will tell me, yeah, we picked you up from the trash can. So I started asking my dad, can I get an original birth certificate to make sure
I
that
need
my
to
dad
find out if this is real or not.
And you know why, Miss Marlene? Because my father is a very, very dark. He's a very dark Salvadorian man. He is dark. My father literally could pass for someone that is Caribbean, and you know he's very so. And I'm like white. and green eyes. So my siblings that
Mhm.
will tell me this, my brothers, they had dark eyes, they look like my dad, so they will tell me that I was picked up from the trash
Yep.
can, which is why I look so different. And I was like, so I wanted an original. My dad will start laughing. He's like, what do you want in an original? I just want an original birth certificate, because I was like,
Yep.
I'm gonna look for the adoption agency, because I know they didn't find me in a
Yep.
trash can. I was adopted.
Miss Nixie, you wait till you hear this. I didn't have a birth certificate until I turned 3.
What?
Mhm. Yeah.
How in the
Yeah. You know why?
why?
My mom thought my dad registered in the hospital, and and vice versa. They both thought the other. I thought you did it. No, I thought you did it. And then I guess one day they had to go for something, and they said there is no birth certificate for your daughter. I was like, oh, very nice. So
Oh
my
my
birth certificate says 3 years later. Mhm. It says delayed
wow.
registration. I was like, and my siblings always laugh at me, tell me they forgot you.
They're like, so do you believe me now when I tell you my mom didn't really want you?
I was like, oh my god. I was like, how do you not have a birth certificate for your child for 3 years?
Wait, I had a child for 3 years? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had her. No, I thought you had.
Yeah, and my brother loves to say the story about what my mom said. She was pregnant with me. Oh, my brother was so pissed. My brother's like, "Great, where's she gonna go?"
Well, I'm the last of six, right? I'm the last of six kids, and I heard I was so, because between me and my oldest, my the brother before me, it's about either a 7 year or 8 year difference.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, they planned me, right? Oh, I was born 8 years, so oh wow, they really wanted to have another child, but they wanted me to be special. And so
Mhm.
I'm thinking this, like, I'm the last of all this, and everybody's the attention is all on me. And then I hear my mom here one day. I was like, probably I had already had my second child. My mom is talking to one of her neighbors, and she tells her, "Oh, you're pregnant," because the lady was pregnant, and she's like in her. Back then, she was in her late 40s, probably
Mhm.
mid 40s, like, and she was pregnant. She's like, oh my god, you're pregnant, and what does the doctor say? And she's like, well, the doctor told me that I have to have a lot of testing to make sure the baby's not born sick or whatever. And my mom is like, and then why are you keeping him, why are you keeping the baby? And she's like, because it's my child and I want the baby. My mom was puzzled. She's like, there's so many options nowadays. She says, when I got pregnant of my last child, her, I was on birth planning, birth control, but I wasn't taking. We didn't have a pill. She said, we had this sponges. So
Mhm.
if you think about it, she's born because those sponges weren't
Mhm.
doing their job. So she's a sponge baby or something like that. She told me
Oh.
something like that. And I'm looking at her and talking to this lady, and I'm like, and I have my daughters there running around, and I'm thinking, how dare you? So
Wow.
it was I didn't she didn't straight out tell me, wow, I mean, they like your mom did, but
Mm.
she said it to somebody else. The sponge thing didn't work properly that day, so she's a sponge baby. I didn't even know that I was pregnant because I was using that method or something like that. And then I looked at her and I was like, so okay, now it makes sense. You left because you didn't really want me. Like,
Mhm.
I had asked her that question in the beginning, and she told me, "Oh, I had to come to work. It's not that I didn't love you."
Yeah. Oh.
provide. And I was like, okay, whatever. I kind of believed her a little, but when she said that, it confirmed to me that's why it was easy for you to go and leave me behind,
Because she didn't want
because
a
I
child.
wasn't yeah, I wasn't someone that you had planned for. I wasn't someone that you wanted it, that you have prayed to God to bring you
Mhm.
into, bring into your life. I was someone that just happened because that method of protection you were using was defaulted or didn't work or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean? She didn't say it to me straight out, but it felt like a slap on my face.
Yep.
But it makes sense.
Well, I was the menopause baby, so you know. Yep.
Yeah, and she went on and
Yeah.
tell the lady that she didn't even know she was pregnant for like 4 months.
Mhm. Same,
She's like,
same,
yeah, she's
same.
like, I didn't
Yeah.
even know. And then my best friend's mom, the one that is born 6 days before me, his mom was really good friends with my mom, and she's the one that told her, "You look like you're gaining weight on your belly. Have you checked if you're pregnant?" She's like, "I cannot be like that. I'm taking, I'm precautions, right? I'm taking care of myself. There's no way I am." And she's like, "Well, you look like you are." And that's when she went and found out that she was expecting. And
Mm.
she said she came home and cried and cried and cried because that was the last thing she wanted.
She was very unhappy. Yeah, my mom said the same thing. You know the age when we were born and stuff, Miss Nexie.
Mm.
Parents back in the day, they didn't do the things like now. The test, this test, that test. My mom was still, it was that time when my mom was still turning up, as they would say now.
Miss Marlene.
I'm being honest. All my siblings said, "Yeah." I said, "Boy, mom was partying a lot," and yeah. And then here I am. I'm the party. I'm the party
Oh,
child. Yeah.
now I get why she's so crazy. Okay, okay,
Yep.
now it makes
All
sense,
my
Miss
siblings
Marlene.
said that. That's because mom had a little bit too much. I'm okay. People think I'm crazy, but that's the reason. I'm okay
It's
with
your
it.
mom's fault. It's all your mom's fault.
Yeah, it's all my mom's fault why I'm so
But
crazy.
but Marlene, these are secrets, like, and they affect you not just in the moment. What people don't understand is that there's certain things that you don't say to your children, but there are things
Yeah,
that you have to explain to your children.
you have to.
Like, I get that our parents didn't want us. We were oops babies, right? Oh my God,
Hmm.
you're pregnant again. I guess I'm gonna have
Oh,
to have her.
here we go.
Exactly. And what my mom said is that that was effective. When I asked her, she said, "Well, we didn't have really good, control methods, and abortion wasn't an option."
It wasn't an option. Yep.
That's exactly what she said to me. So I was like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you."
Oh,
But
hold on, Miss Nexie.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to read this. Queen Bee says, "My mom told my sister that she had her to receive public assistance welfare."
Oh, I heard. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Queen Bee. And I have heard that moms say that to
Mm-hmm.
their children at the agencies. When I went to apply for my son, there was this, and I'm gonna say it because this Hispanic lady, she had her kids there. There were like four little ones, and I was there to apply for my son because my son is autistic. So they
Mm-hmm.
had me go to the Social Security office to get his Social Security, and then go get apply for Medi-Cal or something like that, because
Mm-hmm.
they were going to be the ones taking care of all of his schooling and all of his therapy and stuff like that. And we had insurance, but they told me you still have to apply for Medi-Cal. He has to
Right.
have it so that the system knows that he's special needs. So I was
Right.
like, okay, okay, fine. So we applied, and there was this lady, and she was yelling at the one of the oldest kids. I think the little girl was probably like 9, 10 years old. She was yelling to this little girl in Spanish. She didn't know that I understood what she was saying, but she told her if it wasn't for like the money, I would have sent you back to your grandparents in whatever they were. I don't want to say the country, right? Because I don't want
Mhm.
anyone
Right.
to retaliate. But I can say it was a Hispanic lady like me. And she said, if it wasn't because, oh, no, no. She said, if it wasn't because they checked on you guys monthly for this money, I would have already sent you all to live with your grandparents in blah, blah, blah country. And I was
Whoa.
like,
Whoa.
oh my God. Like saying, if I could receive it without them making me bring you guys here, I would have been already rid of you guys. I would have been getting this money. I would have been partying and
Mhm.
sending you guys little scraps here and there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked at her and I said, how dare you?
Pathetic.
In
Pathetic.
Spanish, I said to her, how dare you? And she looked at me like puzzle face, like, oh my God. I said, don't do that. I said, those kids are gonna hate you later. I say, I promise you that. And I walked away. And my husband was like, did she just say that? I go, yeah, she did. He's like,
Mm.
oh man, some people shouldn't be parents. That's all he said to her. Some people
Yeah,
shouldn't
a lot of
shouldn't be
people do not
parents.
need to be a lot of people do not need to be parents, and I feel very sad for those who have been scarred, taken advantage of, and abused by whatever whoever their parent was. It could have been your mother or father. It could have been your grandmother, aunt, uncle, whoever raised you, your sibling. Not everybody is made for it, but sometimes people get put in the position that they have to, take care of you because of whatever reason, but they're not happy to do it. They don't want to do it, and they make it known. So,
It,
but
it is
go ahead,
true.
Miss Esteem.
No, I was gonna say that the one thing I have to say, even if your child wasn't planned or wanted, the last thing you want to do is continuously repeat that the fact that they weren't like wanted or desired or
Hmm.
even planned, or even they were born and you had to take care of them because they were already here and it wasn't something that you wanted to. Children shouldn't hear things like that. But now I have another thing, that if parents know that there's certain secrets that one day their child will find out, I think that it is important for us
To say it.
to say it, it's important to come out of our mouth regardless of the outcome. It doesn't matter what the outcome, because it's a secret that is going to affect our children in one way or
Mhm.
another. It's a secret that we have kept, but I think that eventually, if you know that the secret will be revealed one day, whether it's in 2 days, 5 years, or 50 years from now, it's better coming out of your mouth and you can ask for
Then hear,
forgiveness
then
than
hear,
for them
let them hear it
from
later.
somebody else.
Mhm.
Exactly, Miss Marlene. Exactly.
Yep. Because there's certain things that, now that I'm an adult, there's certain things that was never talked about, that we heard about our aunts and uncles, grandparents, and certain things, and we don't really know like what's the real truth. So now we promise ourselves, as siblings, we're on that mature space. If something is actually happening, good, bad, ugly, we tell each other the truth. Like this is what it is. Put the cards on the table, and at least we all know we could hear it from that person. Back in the day, it was like something happened and everybody was like zip, and they took
Yeah,
it like Miss Queen Bee says they take it to the grave. They'll never
yeah,
talk
I
about
read
what
that.
really happened. Yeah.
That's what she said earlier, that her mama will really take the lies and everything else to the grave. Like she wouldn't. And that's the thing. For me, Marlene, is that the lie that you tell or that you have
Mm,
told grows legs and arms
yeah.
and tail and ears
Yep.
and
And
horns by
face
the
and
time.
hmm
Yeah, but by the time that lie that you have been concealing from the world or whatever, it has horns and a tail and everything. And it's not going to stay a small lie, especially if it's going to affect a life.
girl, girl, girl. Hold on, I'll
Exactly.
be right back.
Sure. I have learned that sometimes those white lies are the ones that affect um You do it so that you don't hurt someone, but I feel that regardless, it shouldn't be a white lie because it affects someone else. And if you have a friend or a family member or someone that you have to lie to in order for that person to be okay or be your friend or be your family, I feel that that shouldn't be something that you do. I feel that if you cannot be honest with that person, regardless of what the outcome is of what you have to reveal to that person, then you probably shouldn't be around each other. I think white lies are just lies, regardless of who you're trying to spare. I mean, that's my opinion. I'm not sure if it's something that is it's something that I feel, not that everybody has to adhere to that, but it's a way that I feel. Yes, Queen Bee, they can be very devastating, and they create sometimes more harm than if you would have told that person from the very get-go what's going on. That lie can probably hurt that person more than if you would have been honest at the very
From the
beginning.
beginning.
Because that person, whether this person will come and say, "Oh, you were adopted," you'll be like, "Yeah, I know. My mom told me when I was 5 years old. So what's your deal?" But when somebody is told, you know, you were
When they're
adopted at
30.
20 and they don't know, and they're like, "What do you mean
Mhm.
I'm adopted?" So that hurts more. It's better to just come out, take it, the way it's gonna come to you. But it's better
Even
to
if
just be
they're
honest.
mad, disappointed,
Mhm.
it's better to take the hit from the beginning while they're
Mhm.
young. At least, nobody should, because what I saw one time when I was in school, Miss Nexie, is one kid didn't even know.
Ah.
Yeah.
My sister had.
They didn't know
Remember,
they were
I shared
adopted.
that with you, Miss Marlene. I think I shared that with you. My sister had a neighbor whose daughter couldn't have kids. I think I shared it with you. And
Mhm.
she had two daughters. She pretended to be pregnant the whole time. She couldn't have kids, and she pretended to be pregnant the whole time. The mom knew, my sister knew. I was young, so I didn't really know what was going on, but everybody knew that she was just faking. And then the babies, she went and adopted the first daughter and then adopted the second child. And and she has pictures of her being pregnant and everything.
Mm,
So the girls didn't know until they went through a divorce with their husband and with their dad. The mom and dad went through a
mhm.
divorce and they found out that they were adopted at that point.
Wow.
And that's messed up because she had everything, like everybody fooled. And that's a lie that you purposely made a huge
You
thing.
made it. Hmm.
Huge. And it would have been a lot easier and a lot probably safer and a lot more painless for your children if you would have said, you know what, yes, I wasn't pregnant with you, I was wishful thinking, I put that belly, and when I adopted you I felt that you came out of that belly. You know what I mean? It would
Hmm.
have been a lot better that way, said that way, than the kids, oh, that was me when in my mom's belly, or that's my sister in my mom's belly. And
Or
that
that,
never.
how about that stupidness about telling your kids that the store brought you?
Oh, I was so scared of birds, Marlene, for
I
the
would, and
longest time.
when I used to see those white birds, I used to be
I
like,
will run
"Oh
away.
my God, someone's getting a baby!"
No, I will run away because I was like, are they bringing a baby for me? Oh hell no! I want no kids. I
Oh
will run
no, Miss.
away.
Oh no, Miss Nexie. This one by Queen Bee. She said my neighbor's daughter unalived herself because she found out that my neighbor was her mom and not her aunt.
Oh my god. Oh, I am so sorry. Yeah, the Stark stories. I
Oh,
am so
I'm telling
sorry.
you, that messed me up, Miss Nexie. I don't care when people talk about lies that parents tell like it's funny. Oh, it's just a little humor. So I literally thought storks brought babies.
Yeah, me too. That's why I will
So
run
so
away.
then I was like, and then when I saw a woman pregnant, they were like, "You're pregnant? I'm pregnant with what?" It's like, that's not true. The stork brings babies. My mom is looking like, actually. I was like,
No.
what else is a lie? What else is a
Oh, how
lie?
about that, Miss Marlene? How about the one that a little bird told me
Mm.
that you did this and this and that? You know how fearful I was of birds. I would
Yeah.
tell my friends, look around to see there were no birds, so my dad wouldn't find
Wait a
out.
minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Before you say anything.
Is there any birds around? Yes. What's with that? A little bird? No, your cousin told me that she saw you there. Don't say
Yeah.
a little bird. So when I saw, like, because we're coastal, right? So they have those big white things that are those pelicans, right? So when
Oh
I would
my
see a
God.
pelican, I
Miss
would be like,
Nexie, I thought pelicans were storks.
yeah, that's what I thought too. So when my
Oh,
sister said that the storks, and they would read, tell the stories of the stork bringing a baby, they had a picture of a stork in a baby shower bringing the baby on the cake. When I used to see those things, I would run, Marlene, as fast as I could, because I was like, if I come home with a baby from a stork, my dad is gonna unalive and the baby. So I would run away. When I used to see a stork, I would go straight into where the little pelican was at, and I would go. I don't see a baby, but maybe somebody already picked him up.
Miss Nexie,
You're a
I'm gonna tell
child,
you,
like, dude.
Miss Nexie. You know, I grew up here in Florida,
Yeah.
and it's nothing but pelicans. I
Yes.
remember being a little kid and screaming at the top of my lungs because it was like all of these pelicans. Now, I thought pelicans were storks. I thought it was the same thing. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Me too.
no, 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 no. I was like, I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby.
You know
Like,
when they
I
say the
freaked
stork
out.
club? You know when
No.
they say the stork club? They
Yeah.
get together and they plan who's baby. So when I used to see them, yeah, and I live again. I'm a coastal, girl. Like, my town was a protocol, so we had beach like 5 minute walk from our
Yeah.
house. So there were pelicans everywhere, and I will run
Everywhere.
when they will follow us because we had either bread or something with my friend. I will run. I will tell them, dude, run because we don't want to take a baby home. Our parents will
No.
unalive.
I said I have brothers. I used to just scream at the pelicans. I have brothers. Do not bring no baby to me. I am not ready.
And when I will see them by the house or whatever, because sometimes they will get out of the because we're so close to the beach, I will see them around the neighborhood, and I will go look. When I saw them standing somewhere, I will go look and see if there was a baby because they brought the baby. So,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
and my
My
neighbor,
brothers used to add to that story. Every time after they drop off a baby, they would come to the beach and hang out and say, "Who's next to get a baby?"
no, my neighbor had a baby, my next door neighbor, and my sister, my older sister said, "Oh yeah, the stork was there last night. I saw it." So Marlene, because they were my next door neighbor, like I was next. I will freak out when I used to see one on the roof.
Oh my God, Miss
Am I
Miss
gonna get a baby?
Miss Nexie, I'm telling you, the relief that I felt when I found out that the storks weren't real for years. I'm now you're going to say I was behind a little bit, Miss Nexie, but I was about 12 years old
Yeah,
when
me
I
too.
found out storks. And I was like, oh my God, I was so relieved. I was like, okay, I don't have to run from them no more. It's okay.
Oh, Marlene, what
I got
about
a
the
lot of
story?
trauma from the pelicans. I'm
Listen, how
telling
about the
you.
story that if you kiss someone, then the stork will come with the baby?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my God, Marlene, I was freaking out one time because one of the boys at school gave me a little peck on the cheek, and my friend,
Uh oh. Uh oh.
and so I was freaking out. I was 10 years old, and he gave me a peck. It was my birthday. He gave me a
Mm,
happy
mm,
birthday. He gave me
mm.
a little peck on my cheek, and my friend said, "You're gonna be pregnant. You're gonna have a
Ugh,
baby." No, she said, "You're gonna have a baby now because he kissed you." And I
ugh.
was freaking out. I was quiet at home, and my dad is like, "Is she sick or something?"
Yeah.
Because there's no. Is she sick? Did she lose her
Is
voice
she
or
all
something?
right?
Her vocals not working because she's always screaming around and bouncing
Yeah.
in and out of this house.
Yep.
And so I was
You're like, I
quiet.
don't know how to tell you that,
I told
but
my sister, I said, "I think I'm having a baby." My sister's like, "What?" My sister at this point is like 17 or 16, I think my sister was 16. And I said, I am. My friend said that I'm gonna have a baby because she's like, "What do you mean? Like, how are you gonna?" Because my sister, even at 16, she was kind of like naive. Like, "What do you mean?" I was like,
mm,
"Well, she said that if somebody kisses you, you know how my auntie says that too, that you're gonna have a
yep.
baby, that the stork is
Yep,
gonna come visit you."
they kiss you, the Caribbean part. They kiss you on the lips, and then your stomach grows.
Yeah, well, I didn't go that far. I thought just a simple peck on the cheek, I was
Oh,
doomed. I was done.
mm. You're
I was
doomed,
done for.
doomed, doomed, doomed.
And my sister said, "No, we need to find out. Let me ask our older sister, because she's like
Mhm.
probably like at that point she was probably like in her 20s. She was already
Oh,
married."
oh, she knew, she knew.
And my sister asked my sister, and she started laughing, and she's like, "No, if it's on the cheek, you won't." She didn't say you're not gonna get pregnant if somebody kisses you. She said if it's on the cheek, then it's not gonna happen. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like the same thing with you. If they kiss you on the
She
mouth, your
still left
belly
some
grows.
doubt in your
Yes.
minds. Yep.
And it was smart to do that because I'm telling you, Marlene, I did not allow anyone to get close. Oh,
Yeah,
heck
you'd be
no.
like, stay all the way over there.
Yep. We ain't gonna have no storks in this household. But oh man, those pelicans, they look like storks to
Oh
me.
no. I didn't play about those. I'm telling you, and my brothers, they punish me relentlessly. Whew. Oh, they're like, you hear that? And I'd be like, listening. They'd be like, they're saying who? Oh, who gets a baby next? What? What?
Oh my god, they're bad.
Poor me. And I really was suffering. And I was like, oh, I think I heard that. Did they say? And when if you want to hear something, you will hear it next. See,
Oh
and I
yeah.
heard it.
Oh,
And one day I was like, I was like, did they say Marlene?
oh, oh Marlene, but you weren't as freaked out as I was at 10.
I was like, what? I was like, I heard it. I was like, that's Marlene. Marlene. I was like,
Even my
I'm gonna have a
sister,
baby.
my 16-year-old sister was like, "Oh my god, we need to ask our other sister because I'm not sure if that's how it is. Let me ask her." And it's
It
like,
was terrible.
how can you do that?
It was
Like
terrible. I would have
you don't
never
have
done that if
to.
I was older to my younger siblings. I would
Exactly.
never. Oh, but
Never.
my brothers and sisters, oh, they, oh, it was relentless. They would see a
Well,
pelt. Oh, Marlene, look, and I'd be like, no.
Marlene,
I would
but
run
come
from
on.
them. No, I'm not
But
ready.
come on. Tell me how much of a little terror you were.
Well, you know.
Just your siblings. I'm not gonna go as far as your parents, but how terrible of a child you were to your siblings. So they had to be relentless with you.
I was not terrible to them. I was terrible to my mom.
Oh no, no, I was I
No,
used to
mm-mm.
blackmail my
Nope,
sisters. I used
nope,
to.
nope, nope. I was not. I was good to my brothers and sisters because I needed them because they were older and had a car and stuff. So I was
Oh no,
smart.
no. Well, I had them wrapped up in my little finger, so I was like, "Oh, you."
Mm-mm.
They will
My
borrow
poor
money.
mom. My
Can I
poor
borrow
mom.
20 cents? I'll be like, "But you're gonna have to give me back 25 cents or 23 cents because I'm lending you 20." But next year I don't. But then don't borrow it if you don't got it. Then I can't. No, if you're gonna,
Mm-mm.
you have to. And I have
Wow.
witnesses that will say that if not, I will come after you. And if I will see my sister with somebody, talking
Wow.
to a boy, I'll be like, Nexie, go clean go do the dishes. I don't want to. Go do the dishes. It's your turn. Okay, I'm gonna tell somebody that I do. So somebody talking to somebody. Oh,
Oh.
fine, then I'll do them. But you're gonna have to do them tomorrow. I'll think about something else tomorrow.
See, I
Oh,
never had that. I never had that. I My poor mother. I all the time. I said, God, I'm so sorry. Like honestly, I made my mother miserable. Oh, my poor
you guys
mom.
have the same personality.
Whew. I was like, woosah. I said, I think now I'm getting back right now for the things that I did when I was a little kid.
No,
Paybacks.
yes, my dad
Mhm.
would always say, I just cannot wait for the day she has her own children. She can see what I'm
Mhm.
feeling right now.
And it hurts.
Yeah, my dad was everything to me, right? So I was the boss, and my dad
Mhm.
will say green, and I knew it was green, but I will find a different shade of the green that he said it was, just to make him mad, just like that. You say I'm
Mhm.
coming, you have to be home by 6. I will not be home by 6. I will be home by 6:03 because he said 6, but I wanted to be at 6:03 because it was at the time I felt
Hmm.
it. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Mhm.
always trying to. Oh, so let me tell you. So my dad, he had his tools because he used to do his work. He always had his tools very organized in their place. Well, somebody came and needed a screwdriver. Took
Mhm.
all of the different Phillips and then left them on the table, or he couldn't find the number 5 or this or that, and can you please stop going through my drawer, and if you do, can you put them back? Never
Mhm.
did. I will always displace them. Yeah, I was terrible to my dad,
Well, see,
our
see, I
poor
was,
father.
I was the perfect specimen of a daughter for my dad. I was daddy's girl. I never did anything to hurt my daddy, but my mother.
That's a different story.
I was like, I didn't make no promises to God to be good to you. I only promised to be good to my daddy.
No, you know what? I think that to me is because I always had to be right, right? I always had to,
Mm.
and I think that I also, as I got older and I started going through therapy, Miss Marlene, and
Uh-huh.
analyzing, you know, my life, my story. I think in a way I was a little resentful because my dad wouldn't tell me the truth of why
Mm.
the separation or why they
Wow.
left, or you know what I mean. Like he
Mhm.
always kept on blaming himself, like, oh, because of me. I had a lot of faults. All right. But he will never, whenever I got older, I will ask him, why don't you tell me the truth? I know it wasn't just that. What is
Yeah.
it that made you guys break up? I know it's none of my business. I get that. But, it's just that I didn't like the
You
fact
need to
that,
know.
and I
Yeah.
didn't like the fact that it was something that affected all of us. And they didn't feel it was important for us to know
Mhm.
why it happened. It could have been just as simple as we didn't love each other anymore,
Mhm.
right? I'm sorry, it's not you guys. It's just that we didn't love each other, or we didn't in
They would never
sync.
tell you. Mhm.
Never. And that's the thing, that you are broken in so many ways because of the lies they tell,
Yep.
the secrets they keep,
Yep.
the things that they think are supposed to be secretive. They're not, because it's affecting your children that you had
Yeah.
together with this person. So
And
why
like
not say she left with somebody else, if that is the case, because
right.
she didn't love me anymore? That doesn't mean she didn't love you guys. That meant she
Mhm.
didn't love me. And that's why
Mhm.
she left with this
Yep.
other man. We were gonna find out
Yeah.
eventually. I mean, not
Exactly.
not me. Anybody will find out eventually if that's the case. But
Yep.
say what it is. Don't lie.
Yeah, and
It affects you more.
especially do not lie to your children.
Thank you.
Don't lie to your children like, you know my situation, Miss Nexie. And certain things like I put all the cards on the table. Like, they're not stupid. They know he knows who his father was and everything. So I'm not gonna come in like, oh yeah, your dad was this. He knew the kind of person his father was.
Hmm.
Like, I don't have to sugarcoat it, but like, this is what it is, and blah blah blah, XYZ. Tell him the truth. That's what it
Yeah,
is. But now this is the situation, and you're with us, and this is what it is. Not for
exactly.
for them to know, like, that was the situation, and now you're here and everything's good, but this is what it was. I don't want one day to say, how come I'm there, and how come I'm not with my dad, and how come, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, don't put those questions. And my thing, when I was growing up, I used to hate that my parents would never talk about, like, I love you. And that drove next thing, I mean, that drove me literally crazy.
Mm.
My
They
brain,
will
like,
never say those words.
and I would be like to my dad, like, why can't you just say it? And he was like, see, well, my dad, he was slick. He would say, if I said, Dad, I love you, he would say, me too.
Mm.
No! I was like, you can't go through the back door. You have to say the whole thing. He's like,
Yeah, and for
and
me
he
was
like, but
the
I do, but I do. I was like, no.
me too, but I said me too, and I do, me too. No, my dad was never like that. My dad was always very, very loving towards us, and
Mhm.
constantly saying how much he loved us, how proud he was of us. Maybe not towards the boys, but towards the girls, right? But my mom is not like that.
You
Like,
had opposite.
like,
Hmm.
yes, like my mom, it's not someone that is gonna be hugging you or kissing you or telling you how proud or how much she loves you. It's a different thing, but she does, right?
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, but it's the thing that they don't say it.
And
And
that's what drove me crazy. And Miss
yeah.
Nexie, I had this vendetta. I was like, I'm gonna teach them. I was like, I'm gonna make them love me.
I was drinking something. I was like, I was joking because of you. Oh, Miss Marlene.
I drove my parents literally crazy, my poor mother. And I was like, I remember one day literally like shaking her, love me.
Well, my
Like that
mom,
was gonna work.
yeah, well, my mother lost her mom when she was little.
Yeah.
Her mom, went to heaven when my mom, I think, was either 6 or 8. I'm not sure.
Wow.
And there were 3 siblings. And the dad was non existent. My grandpa, right, was
Hmm.
literally not there. So they were dispersed to other people. And I think that affected her ability to say the words or the ability to show love because nobody showed it to her. I think that's what it
Hmm.
was. I mean, I want to say that that's what it was. I'm not sure, but she lost her mom so young that I don't think she
Wow.
was able to,
She wasn't
to
able to.
form those attachments and
Yeah.
to be thought what a mother's love was all about.
Well, in speaking of that, I had the opposite with my dad. My dad never had his dad around. He never, not he didn't know. He knew who his dad was, but there was no relationship.
How sad.
So my dad never had, like, the father figure and all of that, the male. Everybody in his life was a woman. He had his mom, he had his sisters, and I
Hmm.
think maybe my grandma's sister, so his auntie. So it's all women. So I don't understand how you could grow up in that and not be, you know,
A loving
like,
person.
be a very loving person. But a lot of people like myself that when they come from the Caribbean, you don't grow up saying, I love you, I hear.
Nope.
It's just not, that's not something that you do. For most Caribbean people that I know, they always say, you show love. Like,
Yeah,
you got a food to eat. I
yeah.
go to work.
You got a
Of
roof over
course
your
I
head.
love you,
Yeah,
but
you got a roof over your head. You got shoes on, right? You got,
yep.
yeah, that outfit.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that shows I love you. Oh, so if you didn't, I will be walking around nude,
Yeah. You would.
barefoot.
You would.
Is
You
that
would.
what it is?
Hmm. Yep.
So you start putting, that, okay, so they love me because they feed me, right? Because they
Hmm.
say that to you. You got
Yep.
food on the table.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So if they didn't love me, so I'm gonna make sure they love me, because if not, they're not gonna feed me. That's how
Hmm.
you start seeing things, and that's a number.
Yeah. And I told my dad, like, because he didn't grow up in that, like, communicating and talking about how he feels and what he's going through and stuff. So it was new for him to talk, about feelings and emotion. And I was a child, of course, his 10th child. He's like, oh my God, all nine children, not one of them talked about communicate, but me? I was like, hello, daddy. Sit down. Let's talk about love. And that's what we would do. So, I think out of all of his children, I was the one that made sure, maybe my other siblings did it in their own way, but for me, it was very important for my dad to know I loved him. It was very important for my mom to know, like, to say it. And I told him, I said, it's very important for me, especially as a girl, to hear from my dad that uh-oh, Miss Nexie fell dropped off. I hope you're okay, Miss Nexie. But it was very important for me to tell my father how I felt about him. And it was also very important to let my mom know that I loved her. And I understand back in the day, in the 20s and the 30s, and how they grew up way back when, you didn't talk about those things, you didn't communicate those things. But I'm grateful that towards the end of my parents' life, in my parents' 60s, when they became grandparents, they I saw my parents.
Oops, so sorry, Miss.
That's
Yes,
okay.
my phone died, but I had the iPad on. I was like, Dad, give me
Okay.
the iPad. Yeah, but I'm sorry about that. But that's a number on you, especially if
Mhm,
you're someone that is inquisitive like you and I, someone that
mhm,
needs answers, someone that needs to know, which is something that I know. I have siblings. They weren't as inquisitive as I was. I
mhm.
had to know. I had to know how things
Me
work.
too.
I had to
Me
know
too.
why you tick the way you did. I had to know,
Yep.
like, my dad had talking about ticking. My dad had this clock, that he had by his bedside, his alarm clock.
Mhm.
I took that thing apart because I need to
Yep.
know how the
Me
little
too.
drums bounce. So I always been,
Engineers.
yes.
Engineers
So I
unite.
will,
Mhm.
yeah, I will open things to find out. So I had to, and I've always been like that. I have to know why. So when
Yep.
somebody is so secretive, or doesn't tell you, or they tell you half truths, that on
Mhm.
itself harms people like us
Yep.
more than they will ever know,
Yep. And
because
now
we feel that we're lied to.
what you missed when you dropped off, what I was saying is, it was very important for me to inform my dad and to inform my mom by communicating with words that I love you. And
Hmm.
I told my dad cried because he told me that was the first time anybody had ever said that they loved him. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, that's not true. I was like, Mom? And he was like, no, think about
Wow.
it. The same generation. He didn't get it from
Yeah.
his mom and sisters. He didn't get it from his dad. And I was like, wait a minute, not even mom? I was
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. This is like, that like blew my mind. So it's like his last child, his 10th child, was the first person in his life to tell him that he loved him.
Wow.
Next thing when I tell you, that messed me up. It put me in bed for like 3 days crying. Really messed me up.
You know, it's
Messed
funny
me
because
up.
You were the child that was unplanned, like, I was.
Mhm.
The child that they probably didn't even want, but you're the
Yep.
one that actually showed them the more love. What love is
Heal
all
them.
about.
I heal them.
It healed them.
Mhm.
It drove them crazy too,
Oh
but it
yeah, it drove
healed
them crazy. Yep. Yeah, because my mom used to say, why, what's the big deal to be told that you're loved? What's the big deal?" And I said, you know what the big deal is? Because I don't want to hear it from somebody else. I, I don't want to hear it from somebody else. I want to hear it from the woman who gave birth to me.
them.
And
Hmm.
she was like, whoa, yeah. I said, yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa. So say it. So even if she didn't want to say it, she would say it like maybe it started off to be like Sundays when it was time for church, or
Uh-huh.
if I got a report card, she was putting forth the effort. She was trying, but my dad, it was that thing was like pulling teeth. And I remember one day I was leaving to go, and I'm walking out the door. I'll never forget it. And he said, don't be late." He said, "Okay, because Daddy loves you." Everybody in my family, it was like
What? Did he just say that?
everybody's like, "What? Huh? Wait?" And he was
Let's not make
looking
it a
like,
big deal. Let's not make it a big
yeah,
deal.
and everybody was like, "Okay, go about your day like you weren't just affected." Okay, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
and my dad grew
And
up
I think I was
with.
10. That was the first time my dad ever told me.
Yeah, no, my dad
Mhm.
was raised by. He had I think I think his dad passed away, but his grandpa was around. But he was raised by the grandma and his mom.
Mhm.
So my grandmother gave him a lot of love. So my
Oh, that's
dad knew
beautiful.
how to show that love to us girls. I'm
Mm.
not sure if he was able to show it to the boys.
See,
That's that's the thing.
that's
I'm not
different.
sure if he.
Mhm.
I have never really had this conversation with my brothers, so I don't
Mhm.
know. And maybe if I ask, they'll be like, "Well, he did." I mean, come on, he did, right? And that's it. I don't think I will
Mhm.
get a straight answer from them. But
Yeah.
my dad was able to show us girls how much he loved us, and he will
That's
constantly
beautiful.
tell us. And the one thing, and I think I've said this to you before, that my dad, because like you said, I want to hear from you, dad, not
Yep.
from a man that I'm
Yep.
gonna get
Yep.
infatuated with because he was the first man who told me that he loved me. Like I want to hear
Mhm.
from you first, so that I know
Exactly.
that the love from a father, the difference between a love of a man and a love of a father. So for my daddy, he was always he never hit us, never, never once in
Mhm.
his life put
Yep.
his hands on us. And his reasoning was with the boys, because I've heard him explain to one of my brothers, is that he didn't want us girls to get used to males putting their hands on them because
Mhm.
we were gonna get married. He didn't want to be the man that thought him that it was okay for a man to hit them. So
Mhm.
my brothers would be like, "Oh my god, but they get away with everything." Yeah, it's like, yeah, but they're girls. We got to teach them that it's not okay for a man to touch them like that.
You know what? I'll tell you something. I would never admit to anybody else, but I'm gonna say because I think it's very important to the healing process of this show. But I learned about violence and hitting from my mother.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So did
Like
I.
a lot of people don't understand, and they just say that's discipline. But
Mm,
I learned from my mom, if you're upset, if you're angry, if you're frustrated, you just hit your kid.
yeah,
So for me, when I got older and I got in relationships, for me, I was like, well, my mom used to hit me all the time. So
it's
that's
okay.
normal. It's
Yeah,
okay. It's normal. And
yeah.
that's not a good thing, but I'm just being honest that
I
I
got my
learned about
first.
violence from my mother.
Yeah, I got my first. I think I told you this. The first
Mhm.
time I got beaten, and I mean really really bad, was in the hands of my mom.
Mhm. Yep.
And it, for someone that had never been hit like that, To this
Traumatized.
day, it's traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came from a place of safety with my dad and my siblings, right, my sisters, where everybody catered to me. Everybody, oh, the baby, the baby, the baby.
Right.
She was left, so it was overloved. Oh, love on overload
Yeah.
and attention overload. So to come from that no violence in that aspect. There were other things
Mm-hmm.
going on in the house. I'm not gonna say it was a perfect home. No, by no means it was a
Right.
perfect home because there was an absent parent. And in the days that I grew up in, which I'm older than you, Miss Marlene, that was it was taboo. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
their mom left.
I know.
Don't get along with them because they're just their father is raising them. Who knows what they're gonna be like? You know how parents are.
Yeah.
Don't
You
don't don't
know
don't
how it
be
was back in
associating
the
with
day.
that child. She doesn't have a
Mm-hmm.
mom, so it was
Yep.
like that a lot. So I think my father overcompensated because people, small town people will sometimes men
Say
will
the
say
nastiest things.
derogatory things towards my mother because they knew what had happened. So they will say things about my mom and it will bother me because to no end because they were talking about my mom. I didn't know the truth, but they were talking about my
Yeah.
mom. And I will come home crying to my dad, and
Right.
my dad will say, don't pay attention, don't pay them no mind. They don't know what
Exactly.
happened, so don't listen
They
to
don't
them.
know. They don't
But
know.
still, these
It
were
still
things that
hurts.
so coming from a world of catering, having my siblings, my dad never hit me or anything, coming from that to meeting her here for the first time ever and getting that beating is something that I will never forget.
Hmm.
I will never
Yep.
forget.
I told, coming full circle and, with this conversation and everything, but I came, I came to a healing with that. You know, I, by me going to therapy, I think I was able to talk about things that hurt me. My mother was able to talk about things that she went through. And I was grateful that it stopped right there because that's just when my siblings started having children.
Hmm.
So I'm grateful that I went to therapy when I went to therapy because it would have been another generation that would have been scarred by the abuse of what people call quote unquote using the rod and
Discipline. No, they were teaching
discipline.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were that wasn't discipline. That was straight out child
it was
being
child
abused.
abuse. Yeah.
It was child
Hmm.
abuse. These days,
Yeah.
that will literally take your children away if they were raised
Yeah.
that way we were. I'm sorry, but
It
that's
would
straight
be.
out.
It would be.
They will
Yep.
be taken away. So for me, my dad was the type of man that he will get mad when certain things were missing that I had taken. I'm gonna beat her up. Okay. And he will
And
grab my
nothing would
sister's.
happen.
Oh no, he will grab my sister's dress, belt that my sister had was made out of cloth, and that's what he was gonna beat me with. And I'll be screaming, "Oh my God, he's gonna beat me!" But my dad was more. He got our reaction more and hurt us more because he will sit us down and talk to us and
Hmm.
say, "You know what you did? This hurt because this and this."
Hmm.
That, Marlene,
That
was
hurt.
worse than a
That
slap.
hurt worse. Yes.
That was
Yes.
worse than if he
Yep.
would have beaten the living out of me. The
Yep.
disappointment on his face, the tone that he used, and the fact that I heard him in that
Yep.
way, oh
That
my
was
God,
worse.
that
Hmm.
destroyed me.
Yep.
So I adopted that with my children. I'm not saying that if they weren't a couple of times where I spanked them a little because they were doing something that freaked me out or something. Like my
Hmm.
son, one time he was my oldest son. He was going straight into the light socket with a fork. I gave him a little slap on his hand, and all I felt was this bam on my face. He hit me with his little hand on my face, and I was like, oh, and dad is like, well, you're teaching him to hit you because you're
Hmm.
hitting him.
You
So
are. You're
so I
hitting
was
him,
like,
so he
oh
hits
my
you.
God. Yeah,
Yep.
so I was like, oh my god, it didn't occur to me that that's what I was doing, but I was so freaked out because I saw him going straight into the socket with it, and I was like, oh my
You
god,
were
and I
just trying
just
to protect
reacted,
him. Yeah. Yeah, maybe
but
overprotect.
overreacted and overprotected. That's the thing that
Mhm.
I should have explained. You don't do that because, but I was so freaked out that I think that slap on the hand to take away the fork was the only thing that I knew how to do
That
at
you
that
knew.
moment.
That's the only thing you knew
But
at that
I
moment.
saw little stars coming out of my eyes when he hit me with his hand, like bam. I was like, oh.
Yep.
But
So,
again,
Miss
those are the
Nexie,
things that we have to make sure we don't lie to our children. We have to make sure that even if the truth is hurtful, that we find a way to
hmm,
make it childproof.
yep,
You know,
and to everybody that we love, you should never not be yourself. You should never have relationships with people that you feel like you can't tell them the things that you're going through and dealing with. And if whatever they're doing, if it brings you harm or mental distress, you should have good and healthy relationships. I feel like that's the basis of today's podcast and conversation. You should have a relationship where you can feel honest and open, that you should be able to share and talk about things and grow and all of those things. And back in the day, you just didn't talk about stuff, but it's a new day. And I'm grateful for this conversation, Miss Nexie. Any final words?
you know, again, you're right. It's full circle, but I feel that a lot of times we stick around people or we stay in relationships
Hmm.
or that we know that the only way we can keep them is to omit the truth,
Yep.
meaning little white lies, right?
Yep.
Or you don't like to do certain things, but because your friend likes it, you're gonna do it, or your partner likes it, then you're gonna
So
have
you'll do
to
it.
like it. You
Mhm.
don't say, I really don't feel comfortable with this.
Or
I
I
really
don't
don't
really
like
like
this
this.
because you don't want to hurt them, the feelings or their feelings. So you pretend that you do, but I think that's actually affects you more than if you will be honest with people.
Yep. From the
Now, there
beginning.
is certain people that you cannot be totally honest with. Your children, you cannot really tell them exactly why certain things are happening because you have to protect them in a way. But
Hmm.
once they become of age, in an age that they can understand why things happen or why you did what you had to do back then, you have to be open and honest with them
You have to.
before somebody else does it for you.
And you don't want other people to
No, you don't.
yeah,
And
to hear from other people.
loving people and being around people that you can be open and honest and yourself with is the only type of people that should you should be
Only
around.
one. It's the only way.
Yeah,
The
no
only way.
people that you have to be walking around like eggshells and
Ooh,
that you have to lie so that they can like
creep
people like
around.
that you shouldn't have around you.
No. It's not good for us.
And people
So,
that lie to you one way or another and they harm you or they hurt you because of those lies, they do you more
mhm.
harm. Those are people that you don't give second chances to. You
Mm-mm.
have to be careful there
You have
because
to be very careful.
that means that's the norm for them,
Because
right?
if they did that about one thing, it's many other things as well.
Yeah, like again, like it comes back to this the beginning. I mean, the topic, your title, everybody else knows but and
Mhm.
that played around on certain things in my life with my family, right? With my parents, to be honest
Mhm.
with you, with my parents, because everybody else knew
Yeah.
but us or but me. And,
Mm.
and that does a number on you, on your
Yeah.
feelings, on the way you trust people, on the
Yeah.
way you handle yourself around others. You grow up not really able to trust
It gives you a
people.
complex.
Yes,
Mm.
it does. It does. It does because you're so young that you don't understand. And then you start adding so everybody behaved with me like that because they knew.
Yeah.
what was happening, right?
And they didn't do anything to protect you.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Well, it was great being here with you, Miss Marlene. Even though I was late, I am
That's
very,
all
very
good.
sorry.
It's all good, Miss Nexie. No problem. This was amazing. This was an amazing. We rocked this one. Great topic. Thank you so much to you, my wonderful co-host, Miss Nexie, and all of my amazing mods. Jackie, Realist One. Uh, thank you so much to Queen Bee for all of your thoughts and your comments. Miss Betty. Um, I don't know who else came in, but thank you to everybody. I appreciate everybody's support. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. We do the sip and chats on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come back next week for another amazing topic and discussion. And also, we have some other videos. You're all welcome to join channel membership, all of those things. Thank you all so much for 1,500 subscribers. I am going to do a 1,500 um, 1,500 podcasts. There's a conversation that I've been wanting to have, um, talking about, relationships with, your parents and stuff like that. So we'll go into that. Maybe me and Miss Nexty will record it privately and we'll premiere it, or we'll do it live. I'm not sure, but we'll get back to you on that. Thank you guys for tuning
Yeah.
in.
Thank you
Thank you
very much. And I
guys.
think it should be done live. And you're very welcome, Miss Jackie. It's always my
Okay.
pleasure to come and bring you
Thank
guys a little
you.
bit of my craziness here. And thank you for having me, Miss Marlene. Thank you so
Always,
very
always,
much.
always, Miss Nexie. I thank you. I appreciate you. Everybody have a great rest of your evening. And you know what this channel is about: love, the love for yourself, the love for your children, your spouse, a significant other, your friends, your relative. We have to work on being a healthier us so that we can be healthy and love them as well. Thank you guys for tuning
So
in.
true.
Have
Bye.
a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye bye.